Music provided by Armstrong. Visit armstrongofficial.com to hear more badass music. Welcome to the Tricast Gaming Podcast.
Greetings and welcome everyone to episode number 67 of the Tricast Gaming Podcast. I am your host, Grimlock, aka Philip Keeney. I'm joined tonight by firstborn Adam Garcia. Adam, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Phil. I actually got my my quarterly shower in today, so I'm feeling great.
Quarterly shower. The perks of being a new dad, you get to shower less.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. Especially with the new one coming in March, which I cannot wait for that.
Oh yeah. That's got to be pretty exciting for you. And also tonight, I'm joined by an unbelievably special guest, Dickie Mo, aka Aaron Bruch of Breaking Benjamin. Aaron, how are you doing tonight?
That's me. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. This is like my first time doing. I've done a bunch of podcasts and interviews before. This is my first time doing anything that's like directly game related. So I'm super stoked to talk about something other than music that I'm also super passionate about.
All games. That's all we talk about here. First off, thank you so much for coming onto the show. And I'm glad that we're your first gaming podcast. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty cool.
So I guess technically we're breaking each other's cherries.
Yeah, for sure. I had, the one time I did reach out to, I sent a random, just unsolicited Xbox message to Andrew Reiner, who's now the editor-in-chief of Game Informer magazine. And I was like, hey man, I just wanted to let you know that I really like Replay and it keeps me busy when I'm on tour, so I really appreciate it. And he ended up being like, hold on a second. And he's like, I'm going to send you a message on Twitter and make sure this is actually you. So when we played in the Twin Cities area, I got to go to the Game Informer offices the one time, and they like had me do like a little cameo for their Extra Life thing. But this is my first like proper podcasting experience in the gaming space.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I actually grew up with Game Informer, so and Reiner's been there since basically the start. So yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's like, there's the old guard over there is getting very thin. So
yeah, he's one of the few left. Even Andy McNamara left. He's with EA now.
Yeah, Andy Mac left. He's with EA for sure. And I wish him the best on the launch of Battlefield. I'm sure we'll talk about Battlefield at some point going into this, but
oh yeah,
after that, after that last beta, I'm wishing him the best because there's some heat coming that game's way.
Yeah,
major heat.
It definitely, the beta did not go over well. I mean, you can't be more polar opposite to like how Halo's beta went over, because people were really excited about that one. Yeah,
for sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'll have opinions on that if we get to that too, because I was lucky enough that I was in one of the test sessions for Halo, and it was really fun. It's definitely the best 343 Halo game that I've played feeling wise, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about from everyone that I've heard that was in it. I didn't get in. I tried, but I didn't get in. So I don't know if you had an in or if you just
I didn't. I just signed up through through their little app or whatever, and they sent me an email saying that I was chosen for whatever test period.
I think I've only ever gotten chosen to play. I think it was Titanfall. That's the only time I've ever gotten chosen for a pre-launch.
That's a pretty good one, though.
Yeah, Titanfall was excellent.
That first Titanfall was so good.
Yeah, especially the auto fire aim gun thing, whatever it was. God, pissed off so many people with that
pistol. Yeah, the little pistol gun that you start off with.
Yeah.
The only one I ever got selected for was Steep, the Ubisoft snowboarding game.
Oh my God! Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah, that one didn't age well.
Yeah. No, it didn't.
That's true.
Yeah.
Kind of on the what is that Anthem? That didn't age very well either.
Oof. You want to talk about games that had it rough coming out? Oof.
Yeah, for sure. I did sign up for the Elden Ring one though. I would love to get into that technical test.
That would be sick. Fan. I did not sign up for it. I just want to go into that game completely. Like it's so hard because I'm just thankfully From Software, they don't share a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's easier to go into one of their games completely fresh. Because to me, part of the experience of that game is just getting lost and dying all the time.
Yes,
like
sir.
that's how their games are, trying out different weapons and then, going back and having to farm a bunch of materials to be able to level up another weapon once you finally decide you don't like that one. And so that's part of what From games are for me.
Yeah.
So I try to keep myself as uninformed as I can going into those.
That way you're pleasantly surprised later, right?
Well, I mean, I try to approach all games like that. I mean, once I kind of decided that I'm into it, I try to stay away from promotional material.
Yeah, for sure.
Just because, I hate when I get into a game and I'm like, oh, I remember this whole section from blah, blah, blah video at E3 or whatever,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was like when they announced, was it 2018 God of War?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yes.
So when they announced that at E3 and had Corey playing the game live on stage, I was like, don't do this to me. Just show me technical stuff about the game. Don't give me gameplay. Because they could have left that whole thing off from the second that Kratos said boy and they showed his face. They could have just stopped it right there and everybody would have still been super pumped. It would have been fine.
Yep.
But they're like, well, by the way, here's the game. We're going to put you right into it. Here's what it looks like and here's how it plays. I'm like, God damn it. I only got to wait like another year and a half for this thing.
It's brilliant stuff. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm already really excited about all the stuff we're going to get into. So first off, let's kick it by getting to know you a little bit better as a gamer.
Right on.
So, I mean, I got a bunch of stuff in my notes here. You feel free to follow it or I can ask you questions, whatever you want. But basically, I just want to like to get to know you in terms of where did you start? What did you start on? How young were you? What were your favorite games growing up? That kind of stuff.
Oh, for sure. So I've played video games for most of my life. I had all the old school, like the first wave of consoles. So I started with like Atari and ColecoVision. Sure. Obviously, playing Pac-Man in the arcades, or if we were in a store that had a video game in the front, I'd be like, Mom, can I have a quarter? I'd just sit there and dump money into that. And so yeah, games have been a huge thing, for me forever. Going back to on the Atari, playing stuff like Pong and Tanks. And I remember when they had, when they first released Pac-Man for that, and it was like, oh my God, I can play Pac-Man at home. And that was incredible. I was just mesmerized by it. And there was, for Coleco, Coleco had a bunch of cool games too. The one that stands out the most, I was a huge fan of the cartoon Smurfs when I was a kid.
Yep.
And there was a branded Smurfs game for Coleco that I played a lot, and that was my jam. And then going forward from there, obviously had like the Nintendos, and I had the original Nintendo. I never got a Super Nintendo.
Okay.
But I had a friend who had one, and I went and hung out at his house all the time, and got to play, like Final Fantasy 3, which was, actually Final Fantasy 6, but it's so it was and that was fun, and that was probably, one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. A Link to the Past was sure. Super Nintendo.
Yep.
I'm getting to play those.
Actually, the name of our show, Tricast, is a bit of a play on Zelda.
I did notice. I did connect those dots.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
But huge Zelda fan. Those were the first games that, going back to like talking about From Software stuff. I feel like those are all, scary, like almost borderline horror games. But when you think about it at its base, like those games are all like Dark Souls, Demon Souls. Those are the ultimate like homage to The Legend of Zelda, where like you go into these, and that's what I expect out of Elden Ring. You're going to have this huge overworld that's going to have this open world aspect to it, but then you're going to have to go into these dungeons just like in Zelda, just like he's he's always done. I've always looked at those games as tributes to Zelda.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. I've always noticed that too. I think it's a really cool homage between the two creators. And yeah, I'm glad somebody else noticed that, not just me.
Yeah, I wish that he would make a Zelda game. Like when I play through them, I'm like, man, he would make such a badass Zelda game. It would be so cool. Like if they just kind of upped the spectacle of like the monsters and stuff in Zelda games, the way Miyazaki would, and it would just be
right,
super cool. But yeah, anyway, continuing on with like my gaming career, I went into my mom bought me. There used to be these stores called Radio Shack. I don't know what your age demographic is here that you guys are going out to.
We're definitely younger than you, but I still remember Radio Shack.
But some people might not. Yeah, some people might not remember Radio Shack. And they used to actually sell computers. There was a company called Tandy Computers, and I had a Tandy 1000.
Oh my gosh, I remember those.
And it had the disk drive built into it.
Yeah.
And it didn't have a mouse. It was just it was like the computer was an all-in-one. So it was a keyboard with the thing, and it was all in one. And it was the Tandy 1000. And from there, I started playing Sierra Entertainment games. So, so Roberta Williams, all of her games, which were a series called King's Quest, which were like a bunch of, they're amazing adventure games. So I played all of the King's Quest games, and that was Sierra Entertainment. They also had, Space Quest, and they had. Sorry, my iPad is asking me questions. So, because I said Sierra and thought I was talking to it. But they had Space Quest, and then definitely I was not old enough to play like the original Leisure Suit Larry games, but I definitely did play them. And those were all fun, just so I thought it was, we thought we were all hysterical. I'm just sitting there like typing in, wiener.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that kind of story because we always have those games or that music or those movies that we weren't supposed to watch when we were kids, yet somehow we still managed to get our hands on them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For you guys, that probably would have been Conquer. Like you guys shouldn't have played Conquer.
Yeah.
And I
from the N64.
I guarantee you guys were like, no, it's fine. It's see, it's a squirrel. It's okay. Okay.
100%. Yeah, actually, one of my first memories of that was when Linkin Park's first album, Hybrid Theory, came out.
Okay.
I was really into it. And I think I was like 12 at the time. And my mom heard it one time in my room and was like, no, this is not good for you. My parents were like super religious.
This shit.
Yeah.
The brain.
So they took the CD from me. And so I just went to like my buddy and I just made a copy of the CD. And I didn't feel bad about it because I bought the CD. I paid Linkin Park money for their album, and
absolutely.
And my mom took it. So then I made a copy off my friends, and then I just never listened to it out loud again, and I kept going.
Oh my god!
That's why whenever you burn it, you just write mix.
Yeah, that's such a last generation problem now.
Yeah,
it's like you can it's just all on your phone now, and nobody talks to each other, and nobody really listens to their phone.
Yep,
through
exactly.
Nobody listens to music through speakers anymore. Everybody has like earbuds or headphones or whatever. So
true. But yeah. Anyway, sorry. Carry on. Leisure Suit Larry.
And then I just fall. So that was where I started with PC gaming, and I've always from there on been there's a lot of people out there who are they're on one side or the other. They're like, well, I'm gonna play just consoles and PCs are stupid. Then there's the PC master race people that are like, I'm not playing consoles. I'll wait for it to come on PC.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, I'm just going to do everything. And then that way I'm not limiting myself by the experiences that I can have just because I want to I want to sit here and shill for one of the logos. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I love it. I mean, if you go back and listen to any of our old episodes, we're like 100% against the console war stuff. We are all about make love in games, not console wars. So
make it accessible. Make it so you guys can make it so people can play whatever they want to play with whoever they want to play it with, if that's the kind of game. 100%. And if you want to play if you want a single player experience, then do that. You should be able to do that wherever you want.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely. So I guess that's kind of your story. So you play everywhere. So you don't really have a favorite console or platform, or do you have a favorite?
I spend most of my time currently. I have lost a lot of my life to Blizzard Entertainment.
Oh,
and then a couple years ago, they set a trap for me, and I fell for it. And they when they released WoW Classic.
Okay.
And I dumped way too much time into WoW Classic. And then, I guess, was it June? I think June of this year, they released the Burning Crusade Classic, which was the first expansion to World of Warcraft. So I've been playing a bunch of that. Yep. So I have 370s in Burning Crusade. They all have epic flying. I'm like,
That's awesome. I'm actually really sad because we have one kind of rotational host, Mike, that is a huge WoW fan as well, and he couldn't make it tonight. But you guys would have got on really well on that because I've never actually played WoW. That's probably like my gaming.
Good. It's for the best.
Yeah.
I think I played like 5 hours and then I was like, I think I'm done.
It's for the best. Yeah. Because if it gets you, like some people, like, my lead singer, Ben, he played it for a little bit and then he was just like, nope, it's not for me. I was like, okay, that's fine. Cause I had stopped playing for a long time. And then he was like, dude, I'm going to play WoW. I was like, this is a slippery slope right there. I don't know. I don't know that I can go there with you. And, I tried and, he was like, yeah, no, it's not for me. And I was like, phew, thank God.
Like, we still want to make music. We don't want to lose Ben to WoW.
Yeah, sorry guys, can't. I got raid in like an hour. Can we wrap this show up quicker? Because I got like 24 nerds waiting for me when we're done here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, that brings up something I was thinking about as I was preparing for the show. I just think it's so cool that the people that we kind of look up to and admire in terms of, you're with Breaking Benjamin. I've listened to Breaking Benjamin like pretty much since they came into existence because I was already massive gamer when Halo 2 came out, and
sure.
Obviously Breaking Benjamin famously features in that game, and that was where I started listening to you guys. So anyway, where I'm going with this is just seeing that people that we look up to and admire are gamers like you and I was reading a story about that guy Timothée Chalamet, the lead actor in Dune, how he was like a big gamer. Just kind of seeing that in media and the
Superman
environment.
Plays World of Warcraft. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What's his name? Cavill. Yeah. So Henry Cavill. So like just seeing that now, it's so cool because when I was growing up, when I was a kid, it was still pretty nerdy to like video games, and you kind of got picked on.
It still is, but there's enough of us now that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're an entire army.
Yeah.
You look at any professional sport out there, and here's what I'll say. If you look at any professional sport out there, there is a limited number of jobs that everyone who plays a sport is vying to get, right? There's there's 30 teams in basketball, right? There's 20 players per team?
Something like that. Yeah.
So, so it's like there's about 500 jobs total.
Right.
That's it, for the whole world. So like video games is something that everybody can do. Not everybody's going to be athletically inclined. Not everybody's going to, and not everybody's going to be, musically inclined, but everybody can pick up a controller and find something that is, that's fun for them.
So true. Yeah. And I love how interactive the medium is, like it's cool to sit down and watch a show, but sometimes like I want to actually do something, engage my mind in something. And that's what video games really brings out. And so,
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I just think it's just so cool to see that, all you guys out there too are gamers and everything. But, so you kind of brought up WoW already, and I know that you stream it a lot. So how did you get into Twitch streaming?
I do. So I got into Twitch streaming because, for the same way that a lot of my contemporaries got into Twitch streaming, and that was COVID. We're all, it was a whole bunch of people that are, we're typically used to being, away from home, out on the road, having fan interaction of some kind or another. So when that was taken away from us, I didn't go into, and I still don't look at Twitch streaming as a thing that like I do to try and be like some kind of huge Twitch streamer. Like I'm not like,
Sure.
I'm not trying to be like the next Tim the Tap Man over here.
Right.
Although Tim is because I love Tim's stream. It's great. I've followed it for several years, but that's not my goal with it. I just want to have a way that like I'm going to be playing video games anyway, and I'm going to be talking to myself while I play. I don't know if any of you guys do that. Do you guys talk to yourself when you're playing games? Because I do it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like especially if I'm playing something suspenseful, like I'll be like, no, I'm not going in there. No fucking shot. No way. It's not happening. So this way I can be talking to chat. And even if there's not anybody in chat, doesn't matter. I can say that I'm talking to chat. Like I feel less crazy for talking to myself, knowing that it's going out there to someone.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Adam. Yeah, no, you go.
I was going to say, whenever I play something suspenseful, like even if I'm at the house alone playing this in the middle of the day, if something happens and I have to turn a quarter, I'm like, oh, hell no. And I'll just.
Nope. Like, no shot.
Turn it around.
No shot.
I'm looking this up on YouTube. I'm watching the rest of this. I'm done. So
I was playing. You probably watched some of it when I was playing Resident Evil 7. Like,
yeah, I did.
Oh my God. I'm still not done with it. It's Halloween. I should finish that game.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, I was right there with you, just screaming like, nope.
No. It's like, they're like, no, just walk down this. And, chat's super encouraging. They're just like, walk down the steps. No. I don't care what anybody
says. That's the path of how you die. I don't care. My usual response.
Anybody says. I look at these games from my real perspective, and like when if you've played Resident Evil 7, and you roll up to that house and you walk down that long path and go all the way around, you're about to walk in the back door, and I'm like, there is no shot that if this was a real life situation, I am even walking this far. Like I wouldn't have even made it to here. No way. And it's like, if she's in there, she's dead. And like, I'll just call the cops or the army or somebody to like come deal with this situation. Cause this is bad. And then you walk into the house and like you walk into the kitchen. Spoilers. It's Resident Evil 7, by the way. There's a new Resident Evil game out now that is beyond that. So spoilers shouldn't count here. But you walk into that like kitchen area and it's like, this is just gross. So I can call the health department or something. Somebody will come in, check this situation out. I've done my good Samaritan thing. I'm at peace with the fact that she's dead. It's cool. We're just going to move on.
Yeah.
But no, chat's like, no, go down the stairs. I'm not going down the stairs. And then of course you go down the stairs and then your dead girlfriend jumps out with an axe or whatever. It's like, okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. It's a really fun game though. I will say I've had a lot of fun with the game so far.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I haven't had the balls to step up and play Resident Evil 7. I did play 8. But I heard that 8 was much milder to 7 and 8 already scared the crap out of me. So I'm good.
7 was like my first experience with it. And I talked about this on my stream. And 7 was, I originally bought it for PlayStation VR. Mm-hmm. And I had a buddy over the house and we played the beginning of it in VR. And I was like, I made it to exactly the spot that I just detailed, where you walk into the house, you go through the kid, like we're like walking, and because it's in VR, it's super immersive, and the graphics aren't the highest of quality, but it gets the point across. It was a pretty good VR port, for being on PlayStation VR. And like you walk out and I get around the corner and you have a choice to like walk up the steps or go into another thing. And that was it. I was like, nope, I'm going to choose to shut this off now. That's my choice. Whatever happens from here on will remain a mystery forever.
That's awesome. I actually have a very similar story because they had a demo of RE8-7 on one of the PlayStation VR discs. I don't remember which one it was.
Oh,
that came with the VR. And so when I first got my VR headset, I had some friends over and we were like, all right, we're going to do this scene. And like basically you get sat down in this chair in the kitchen. And, you know, the dead girlfriend comes to you or whatever. And I did that thing and I like literally like took the headset off and threw it. I was like, I can't.
Around and shit. Creepy grandma's sitting in the other chair. It's like, no. And the mom gets all mad because you won't eat whatever gross shit is there. Nope.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
That's legit. And for the record, we always do say spoiler, but we have a pretty strong, like if it's 12 months old.
Yeah. Hey, you know, that's way more than 12 months old, but I was, I did throw out the spoiler warning. I did throw it out there.
You did. No, perfect. All right. So my next question is like when you're on tour, do you have like a different gaming habit? Do you try to focus more on single player games there, or do you just kind of play whatever you want to play?
So internet connection varies. I've definitely played World of Warcraft on the bus tethered to my phone. That's definitely happened before.
Wow.
So, but I do have, I have a really sick gaming laptop that goes on the road with me. Shout out to my friends at Alienware, for that.
Cool.
I have my current laptop is the X17. So it's like their newest laptop, and it has a mobile 3080 in it, and it's dumb.
Love it.
But yeah, it's it stays pretty cool. The thermals on it are pretty good, so it's so I'm able to handle playing some better games too. Like I play Apex, handles Apex just fine. You know, I play a little bit of Call of Duty. I'm not very good at it anymore.
Me neither.
But yeah, I play Call of Duty and it handles that just fine. And so that's my mobile gaming rig. And then before this generation of consoles came out, because I got some issues with this generation of consoles, and it's less about the availability of them than it is the form factor of them. Because come on, people, how am I supposed to travel with this shit?
It's so big. I have a PS5. I don't know if you can see. It's right over there.
Okay, yeah. I see the Enterprise back there. Yeah, I see it.
It's massive.
I see it, yeah. So, but so there's this company called Games. I think it's GAEMS, and they had like it's like a suitcase that had a 19-inch screen built into it, and it had these two Velcro straps and a little pad, and it was like super durable. Like I have sent this thing to Europe on an airplane, and it's just like a travel case for your gaming system. Okay. So my Xbox 360 was in there. And then I got a new one when the Xbox One came out, and I had my Xbox One in it. I had my PlayStation 4 in it, and that was my other mobile gaming rig. So I always had my console with me, and I always had, a PC with me.
Sure.
And then this generation of consoles came out, and I'm one of the lucky ones. I was able to, with no hookups or insider deals or anything like that, just through standard retail outlets, I was able to I have a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and it's just the idea of traveling with either of them is so ridiculous because I basically need a suitcase just for those.
They are definitely huge, and actually I totally believe it because I did the same thing. Like I kind of knew that like I wanted to get both, and I kind of tracked it all, and I was ready to go as soon as they went live. Got in there, got my pre-orders in, so I've had them since launch as well. But yeah, you're right. Like they are big, and that was like the first thing. I opened the PS5 box and I pulled this thing out, and I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah, what is this thing? I mean. I think it looks cool. I give it's a polarizing form factor. I know there's a lot of people out there like, this is stupid looking. I think it looks cool. I think it's I know what I see what they were trying to do. Mine is actually so mine's laying on its side in my and it, thank God it fit on that shelf. I was like, I don't know if this is going in here, but it fit on the shelf in my in my little TV stand, because my TV is mounted to the wall, and then I have like a stand underneath it, so it's not. And so the Xbox does not fit on that shelf. The Xbox is standing on top of it, with with like a picture leaning against it, so it kind of blends the thing in a little bit, because I think it's but just massive. So but yeah, I think it looks cool, despite the fact that I think a lot of people may not like the way it looks.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good anyway, because they'll come out with a revised edition at some point in its life, and people can get over the looks in the end. So
yeah, can we do that soon? By the way, going back to the size of them would really be. I've been considering getting an Xbox Series S, just to bring out on tour. But here's my thing with that now. I would really only want to travel at this point. I think I would really only want to travel with a PlayStation, because of all the strides that Microsoft has made in the PC space. Sure. And just Game Pass is just such a good deal. And the fact that most of what's on Game Pass you can get on the computer, and all the Microsoft exclusive stuff is on PC Game Pass too.
100%.
It's like I don't really need to carry the Xbox with me anymore. So that's what's put me off from getting a Series S, but that doesn't help me with PlayStation exclusives. So that's the only thing that I really need, is I need a smaller form factor PlayStation 5.
Yeah, there you go. I love this though, because, and I'm sure Adam can like read my mind, because we're on this show, we constantly talk about how great Xbox Game Pass is, and so the fact that you just naturally brought that up and is like, yeah, Game Pass is a great deal. I mean,
it's the best deal. It is the best deal. It's a better deal than Netflix. No doubt.
I agree. 100%. Yeah, $15 and you get console games, PC games, mobile games, and your live subscription. And they always say 100 plus games, but if you actually go and look at it, it's like 250 plus games or something.
If you count all the backwards compatible stuff, like there's a lot of work going on to get all that stuff up and running, and all the things that they have, like with all the companies that they've purchased and all the things that are now included in it. Like all of the Destiny stuff is in there now, because and then all of the Bethesda stuff that's on there. It's like,
right, yeah.
It's like, okay, all right,
you can't go wrong.
This is the part where I'm usually like,
Skyrim another way. You need to own Skyrim another way, because you don't own it enough times. Now you need to own it again.
Yeah.
This is the part where I'm usually like, sponsored by Game Pass, but
I wish.
I wish. Microsoft, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll talk about Larry Herb, Major Nelson, do something.
Get us some sponsor dollars. Yeah. No, that'd be great. So before we kind of get into the main show, I got just a couple more questions here for you. First off, I would be totally remiss if I didn't like ask you about Breaking Benjamin music in video games. I did some researching on it, because it's like, surely there's more than just Halo, and it definitely is. You guys have been in Rocksmith, or is it Rocksmith 4 or Rock Band 4?
Yeah, there's been Rocksmith, there's been Rock Band. There was Run Like Hell that Polyamorous was in.
Run Like Hell, yep.
There's there's definitely been a history of video games, and actually we were there was, I don't know if there is any truth to the rumor, but so there was a song called Torn in Two that was on our album Ember. We actually recorded that for the previous album, Dark Before Dawn, and we held that off just in case it would possibly get placed in, I think that would have been Halo 5, right? I think that would have been Halo 5.
So
that would have been badass.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But that didn't work out. And then they did the Master Chief Collection, and they replaced us with Periphery.
I was so sad when I booted up the Halo remaster. I go into the mausoleum and it's not Breaking Benjamin that plays. I was so sad.
Yeah, but if they did update it so that when you hit the button and go into the backwards compatible mode, the original song is there.
Still you.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh.
See, I mean, Periphery is a good band, but Breaking Benjamin and Halo just. Like
I mean, I get that they're trying to market it to, a newer generation of people. I get it. So,
but why mess with something that's not broken? That's my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, I clearly don't work at Microsoft, and I'm trying to get you advertising dollars right now. So
don't say anything bad. No, but so it wasn't, because I just assumed it was like a licensing deal kind of thing, was why they didn't pull forward with the remaster, but it wasn't that, or?
I honestly don't know. We got managers and lawyers and stuff to handle all of that. So, but yeah, if I had to guess, I would say that the original license expired and somebody who works on the game now was like, I like Periphery. Let's see if Periphery will do it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's okay. Not everybody has to be a Breaking Benjamin fan.
Yeah, they kind of do.
And I'm not just saying this because you're here on our show. I mean, that's legit. I feel like everybody should be a Breaking Benjamin fan.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I'm not saying I'd be mad if they were. I'm just.
Yeah. So the new Halo. I mean, you got any songs on the new Halo, or
we do not. We do not have any songs on the new Halo. I don't think we have any songs on any video games that are coming up right now. At least not that I
need to change that. Do I need to start a?
Hey man, I'm down. Okay. I'm down.
What are those things called? Change.org thing, or
you got to start a petition. Yeah, an online petition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I read a thing today that said that Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre are recording for the new GTA, and I thought that's a fitting combination there.
That sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right. But I mean, you can have any genre and fit it into GTA just because it depends on what radio station you're listening to, right?
Yeah.
That's where that music is going to show up. I think that's super cool though. That's awesome.
GTA do it. Forza Horizon does it, where you have like multiple radio stations and they have different genres. Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, that was a thing with what was it? GTA 3, I guess, was like the first time they gave you like control of a radio station. You steal a car, and then there's like Laszlo at the talk shows and stuff, and that changed a lot for video games, because there were a lot of games going forward, like the Saints Row games started doing it, and that was a really cool feature that I appreciated a lot. And for most of it, it was just like, that GTA 3, that was really a lot of like music that was recorded for that game, right? That was just like theme based music. And then when Vice City came out, they really started. Oh yeah. They started licensing music for the game.
Yeah. Well, that's what I read, that Blow Me Away was recorded specifically for Halo 2. I mean, maybe that was before, I guess that was probably before you were officially.
It was before my time, but I've been around the band since it started. Like I'm the only one who lives in the area that the band is originally from. And me and Ben have been friends since, we were both playing in like little tiny clubs to nobody. So yeah, when Blow Me Away happened, that was recorded just for Halo, and it was recorded at a studio while they were on tour, and the whole song was recorded in one day, and it was like a day off on tour, and they stopped in a studio and recorded the whole song.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
and that was kind of before Breaking Benjamin were big, right? I mean, because Halo 2 was 2004, right? So
yeah, that was after So Cold. But it was before Phobia hit, I believe. So it was before Diary of Jane hit the radio and everything like kind of blew up.
Yeah, because I know Phobia was '06, and that's my personal favorite Breaking Benjamin album. I know that's kind of like before you joined the band, but I guess
No, I have no problem. I love every song on that album.
Yeah,
so there's a song on that album that's called Topless.
Oh, I love that song.
And that song was actually written before Saturate came out, like the band's first album, Saturate. That Topless was one of the songs that they used to play back in the bars, like back in the old days that I was talking about when there was like nobody there. So,
right. Yeah.
So yeah, when that song showed up on that album, I was super excited that it was there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Phobia is one of those albums for me that I know it's near perfect because I just hit play at the start and I don't ever skip a song. It's just the whole thing. I want to listen to the whole thing start to finish.
Yeah, every song's written like a single. Yeah. Every song's written like a single. The same attention to detail, the same thoughtfulness, the same everything is put into every single song that the band does. So we try to do that with every album.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that every album is not great. I'm just saying that Phobia is like the one. Like, there's not even one song that I.
Plus, it's like that album. I'll guarantee that there was a time that when that album came out, it was at a time in your life when you needed that album. So 100%. You're going to have your memories, your own personal feelings tied to that album. And I think that's the magic of just music in general, is that you can have that. So, and I'll never, ever be offended that that's like, that album did that for you, because that's incredible that it had,
right.
You just have to be in awe of the power music has.
100%. Yeah. And actually I didn't know when I would bring that up, but I think this is a great time to bring it up. And Adam, I'll flip it to you as well for your favorite memory and stuff. But like for me, I was telling Adam, like long before we even brought you on to the show, I was telling him about this and I was reminding him earlier today, but there's like 3 bands that for me, the music has just a really personal connection, has an emotional connection for me, like the lyrics, the songs. It's not just about sex, drugs, and rock and roll or something. There's something to the music. And there's only 3 bands for me that are like that. And it's Breaking Benjamin, Linkin Park, and Five Finger Death Punch.
Oh,
and
right
so,
on.
yeah, so like I've always been a huge fan, and it is because there's that emotional connection to your music. In the lyrics and the words and the power of each song. And for sure, Phobia was, I needed that at that point, like in my life I was a teenager. I was almost finished college or almost finished high school, but you're kind of in that transitionary phase of life of what do I do next? Where do I go? I'm kind of scared and whatnot. And that CD, I listened to that on loop.
That's awesome.
Much.
See, that's awesome. That's an incredible, I can tell, like, whenever somebody says this is my favorite album, like I know that there's absolutely a story that goes with it. And I know that there's a memory attached to it. And I know that there's something, because that's the one that's yours. Right. Yeah. And that's the power of it. That's so cool. But thank you for sharing that too.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Adam, do you have anything you want to add on that or?
Yeah. I can't specifically say like one album with you guys is it for me, because each album in its own stage represents something for me. And I always go back to it because I have a playlist just in order from beginning to end, from the start of the band to right now.
Right. Yeah.
And everything, like, it just has helped me in life so much, like with like with Dear Agony and stuff like that. It got me through a lot. And with some of the stuff that I've been dealing with lately, like that's that's super emotional album. That album that album stemmed from, there was already a lot of turmoil in the band before that album was made. It's not super common knowledge that it was very close to the point where I was actually going to be the one recording the bass for that album. Oh wow.
Because they were so far apart from reaching the agreement that they needed to reach to be able to do the album, and there was like a time frame that the album had to be released under. So I was asked if it came to that, if I would play bass on the album, and I of course said I would.
Yeah.
But even knowing that, I wouldn't have been touring on it. I wouldn't have been, doing anything other than just going in and recording the bass just so the album could get done.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it's that album Ben was dealing with the passing of his grandfather and his uncle, which he was named after both of them. Wow. They were both Benjamin Jackson. So he was in a place that, and you can definitely hear it. You can definitely hear it on that album.
Yeah, for sure.
There's, it's not quite as heavy of an album. It's definitely, it sounds like someone,
in pain,
looking for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And like, there's a bunch of other things, like, especially recently, like, with like even a later example, like Ember.
Yeah.
Like that, there's so many different things that I attach myself to, even now, like even this week, like I've just held on to something because it helps me, every single time. And I've told you this before on your stream.
Yeah, of course.
That, your music has saved my life in more ways than one. So,
and that's, it's such a mind blowing thing. But as a fan of music, like I get it. I get it. Like I know there's those, there are those songs for me, like, like the first two Pearl Jam albums are so important to me. Nevermind by Nirvana is just so important to me just because of where I was in my life. I was just starting to play music. My brother had joined the Navy and moved away, and it was just me and my mom. My mom was a single mom. My dad had like picked up and disappeared. And, my mom was working and doing everything she could to make sure that I had everything that I needed. But that meant that I was alone a lot. And my mom had moved me from the place where I grew up, which was New Haven, Connecticut. She moved me to a little town called Edwardsville in Pennsylvania. And it's we're in Northeast PA here. For those of you that have seen the show The Office, we're like 10, 15 miles from Scranton.
Sure.
Wow. So those albums were, and I didn't have any friends. I was, super confused with life and like my dad leaving and everything. And like, it was a lot. There was a lot going on. So I needed those albums, and like, so 10 and Verses are both albums that I can to this day. And actually just the other day I put Nevermind on and listened to it from beginning to end because it's perfect. Like that album's just perfect. It holds up so well. The songwriting is great. The performances are just real and full of emotion, and just, even if the lyrics don't make sense, it doesn't matter. Like it's just, you can feel that music,
Right. Yep. Right. That's so cool. I'm going to have to go check. It's been such a long time since I've actually listened to that album. I'm going to have to go cue that up now after I get done with the show.
Yeah, bro. It's on, it's on all your, it's on all your streaming services.
Yeah, on the Spotify and everything.
Yeah.
Spotify, yeah. All right. Well, normally we get into video games and we've been talking about video games, but normally we get into the week of video games pretty early on the show.
Yeah, bro, don't get me talking because I talk a lot.
No, it's great. I love it. But I'm going to go ahead and give our spiel and get into the games for this week. So you know what? Each and every week we do get together to channel our virtues through the Triforce to provide you, the listener, all the hottest topics from the mythical world of video games. We also add in as much of our colorful thoughts and fill up monologues as we can handle in a week, simply because we love video games and talking about them. If you like what you hear, please consider leaving us a like and a review on your podcasting app of choice. If you really enjoy it, please share on social media or directly with your friends. The show continues to grow thanks to all of your wonderful support. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Tricast Gaming P1, and on our website, tricastgamingpodcast.com. DM us on any platform with your questions, and we'd be happy to share them on the show. Before we go on, do you want to plug anything,
Dude,
Aaron?
I'm good. Hey, man, I know you're listening. I'm talking to you, the one listening right now. Yep, you're pointing at yourself. Like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
There you go. There's my plug. I am... Obviously, I'm Aaron. I play bass for Breaking Benjamin. I have I have a very small Twitch stream that I have fun talking to myself while playing video games, and chat chimes in. It's twitch.tv/Dickymo, DIKYMO. And then if you want to follow me on other social media, it's at Aaron Bruch on Instagram and at Aaron_Bruch on Twitter, because somebody's just sitting on my name on Twitter.
Lame.
It's zero posts. So it's like, I should have started a Twitter sooner. It's my fault for not starting a Twitter sooner. It's like, as soon as we were like talking about the Breaking Benjamin stuff, I should have been like, well, even if I never use Twitter, I should just get the name, and I didn't. And now there's just somebody sitting on it, and Twitter won't give it to me.
Bummer.
Lame.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, before we get into what we're playing this week, we had a listener write in, Kyle Greenhaw, wrote in to say that he has a correction. And this is not really a correction, Kyle. It's not really a correction, but I'll give it to you because I know how much you love the show. He wrote in to say, I have a correction that I must air on this week's episode. I believe what Jason meant to say was Monster Hunter World is doing amazing despite the Hollywood movie. All jokes aside, as someone who plays the games, the Legends of the Guild movie on Netflix is a much better representation of the monsters and characters that are seen in the games. Kyle, thanks for writing in. It's so true. I'm absolutely with you. Although I did like the Hollywood movie, I thought it was a decent little, just action flick. But I agree with you. The Netflix movie is so much better in terms of representing the games. So thanks for writing in, Kyle, and we'll keep shouting out Monster Hunter just for you.
Yeah, Kyle, let me just tell you that Monster Hunter is not alone in being woefully misrepresented by Hollywood. Let me just throw that out there. As a kid, I remember that piece of shit Super Mario Brothers movie that I was so excited to see.
I was thinking about that before you said it.
Bro, like, it goes back. It goes back. They just can't wrap their brains around it. And hopefully it gets better. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you're a big WoW fan. You've already mentioned it. So what did you think of that World of Warcraft movie?
I mean, if you separate it from the fact that it's a World of Warcraft movie, it's bad. If you take the little bit of like WoW lore that they tried real hard. You know what? They're a nice guy. They're a scrappy little team that put together a solid effort. It it fell a little short on the fans' expectations, but if it was on right now, I'd watch it.
Yeah,
I'd still watch it.
It's such a strange movie because as far as like grossing in terms of the money it made at the box office, it was huge. Yeah. But if you look at its like ratings on Rotten Tomato or whatever, it's like,
it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not great. Yep. But you know what? I like a lot of bad movies. There was an old Bruce Willis movie that caught a whole bunch of shit, and it wasn't this is not video game related at all, by the way. But there was an old Bruce Willis movie called Hudson Hawk. And he was like a cat burglar that would sing songs. Like he knew how long he had to get in and out of the job that he was breaking into. So he'd like pick a song based on how much time he had to get in and out. And it was like so he would go in and like be singing a song and hilarity ensued, folks. Let me tell you, I enjoyed the movie. But that movie was supposed to be like the career killer for him because it was so bad. Like, it was so poorly reviewed. And like, Tom Hanks had one of those that was called Joe versus the Volcano, which was, a notoriously badly reviewed movie. And they were like, well, this is the end of Tom Hanks, which literally they were both wrong, because Bruce Willis and Tom Hanks went on and did some shit.
Yeah. They did. So, Adam, do you have any like favorite movies that are bad, but you just love them?
Honestly, I think it's Super Mario.
No,
like I love watching that movie. I don't know why.
I can't. Dude, you know what's gonna be bad, and I'm gonna watch it anyway, is the new Mario Brothers movie with Chris Pratt. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna pay money to see that on purpose. I'm gonna do that to myself.
Nice.
And I'll hope. That's it.
Yeah, we always do. I mean, I pay money for every video game movie that comes out, and I'm almost always disappointed. So
yeah,
Were you disappointed with Street Fighter?
Who, me or
the Jean-Claude Van Damme one?
Yeah.
No, I was like, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. First off, like Jean-Claude Van Damme as an American soldier, I was like, okay,
Exactly.
well, that's a little. They could have done. They could have done better. I understand they needed the star power for the movie or whatever, but if you put me up, if you gave me the first Mortal Kombat movie versus the first Street Fighter movie, the first Mortal Kombat movie, I love that movie. Like that's just campy, bad, but amazing. Like it was so good. I saw that first Mortal Kombat so many times.
Yep, same. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get into what we are playing this week. I'll kick it off like I usually do. So I've started playing Far Cry 6. Anybody that follows our Twitch channel will know because I've been streaming it all week. This is more Far Cry. I absolutely love the series. I started with 3, and I know I don't go all the way back, but I started with 3, and they're kind of all the same, but you know what you're going to get when you go into it. You know you're going to get a cool world to explore. You know you're going to get a pretty decent story with a badass villain, and I think I'm kind of getting the same thing with Far Cry 6, and I love it. It's it's just a great time to put on some music and chill and run around the map and blow up some checkpoints and bases, and every once in a while see what's his name. I'm not good with actors. What's the guy's name? Giancarlo Espinosa? Is that his name?
Oh yeah.
Presidente.
The villain.
Yeah, El Presidente as the villain. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's funny how like it's so obviously like modeled after Cuba, but yet they don't want to actually say it.
You can't say that. You can't say that out loud.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's brutal. There's that scene right at the start where his friend gets shot in the head, right? Because he's like yelling at the troops down on the street, and he throws the bottle at them, and they just look at him and just shoot him right in the head, and then it's brutal. But I love it. It's a good time. Just really campy and fun. And I've learned from playing this though that I'm actually kind of really bad at first person shooters now. I don't play a lot of them anymore, and so I'm glad that I'm getting in some good practice before Halo Infinite comes out in December.
Well, are you PC or console?
I play only console, really.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say if you were making the transition from PC to console, I was gonna give you an out right there. I was trying to give you an out. Say, well, I usually play on keyboard and mouse, but I switched to sticks for this one, so it's it's a transition period for me. But yeah, no.
Oh, man,
my aim is hot garbage. It's fine.
Yeah, I appreciate you trying to give me that out. No, I just suck at them now. Like, gone are the days when I was in college playing multiple hours of Call of Duty every night. So yeah, I just suck at them now. But
yeah,
no,
give me aim assist and lag compensation. God damn
it! I just remember I was streaming. I said to chat, I was like, "Oh my god, chat! I'm so sorry. Like, I'm getting sick with how bad my movement is right now. I'm sure it's terrible to watch."
Oh my god, it's fine. It's totally fine.
But yeah, I mean, I'm only about 5-6 hours into it, so I don't really have a rating for you guys yet. I like to give much more time to a game and see the story through before I give a rating. But just sort of my initial go at it. I mean, I'm having fun. It is what a Far Cry game is to me, and it's exactly what I wanted right now. And so, if you're a Far Cry fan, don't turn away from this. I would say that it's definitely, from everything that I've heard about it, it is more Far Cry. And if you like Far Cry, and if you've never played Far Cry, you should try it just because you're missing a really cool, unique experience. Especially if you haven't played like the first bunch of Far Cries, I would recommend jumping in on Far Cry 6 just because you haven't had the Far Cry experience yet. And it's very different from like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield or, whatever other first person shooter you want to jump into. Their storytelling is much different. Far Cry games are usually a little weighty with the side missions. Like there's, there is a lot of busy work in Far Cry games, but you can skip that shit if you want to. It's not part of the main story. But yeah, Far Cry games are always a super fun experience. They're, it feels like playing a good action movie. And, that's what I want from a Far Cry game.
So
yep. Always lots of fun blowing stuff up, lots of cool characters. Like you get them like right off the bat, like within the first hour, you get your like little sidekick, and it's a fucking alligator that just walks around with you and just eats people. So you like get into a firefight, and he just goes out and just starts like eating somebody.
Yeah, you send your alligator in. All right, I'm in. I'm here for it. Yeah,
it's great.
For sure.
Or there's another companion you get a little later on, where it's just like this little Chihuahua Dachshund thing that's missing its back legs, and he's got a little wheelchair set up so he can go around, and he just like rolls out and like licks soldiers' hands, and they're like, "Oh, you're so cute," and then he just like drops like a bomb or something, and then rolls out and blows them up. It's great.
Oh my god, that's great.
So super fun stuff, and then also you always get your trippy stuff, like there's always drugs or something going on with it. Okay, and this one, they were developing a cure for cancer, but it's actually like makes people go crazy. So always got your trippiness.
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. I wanted to play the one with the cult, and I didn't play the cult one.
Far Cry 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wanted. I wanted to go back and play 5, but I just have not had I haven't. We'll just when we get to my games, I'll explain that whole situation to you.
Very good. All right. Well, let me hurry up and get to your games then. The only other thing I have got to say is I finally did it. I made it to champ in Rocket League. It is a momentous occasion for me. I've been trying for years to get there, and I've always just bounced right between Diamond 2 and 3, and I finally made it to champ in Rocket League last night, and I've got to share it with somebody. So
that's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick. I've played 0 Rocket League ever somehow. Like I've completely never played Rocket League, but as someone who has played a shitload of competitive games, that's awesome.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. So now that kid that I interviewed the other day, if you're listening, I made it to champ.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I've told this on the podcast before, but I do a lot of interviewing for the company I work for, and I started having kids come and say like, "Oh, my extracurricular thing at school is I play Rocket League competitively for the school." And,
oh wow!
And it's always funny because it's like, how is that what you're going to bring to a professional interview? But the one most recently, he was telling me about it, and he's like, "Do you know the game?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know Rocket League." So then when I said, "Do you have any questions about the company?" And he's like, "Oh, I just want to know what rank you are in Rocket League." And I had to tell him I was Diamond. So now I can say I'm champ. So all right,
nice.
Yeah,
take that, kid.
Take that. All right, Aaron, I'm going to make you go last. I know you're our guest, but I'm going to make you go last. Adam, what have you been playing this week?
I've still been kind of fiddling around on Digimon Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. I think I'm at about 119 hours with the first game and the second game combined, because they combined the whole thing together.
So you're through the tutorial is what you're saying.
Oh yeah. I'm through the tutorial. See, but what I'm doing is like I'm not playing the storyline right now. What I'm doing is I'm forcing my Digimon to level up. So right now I have three ultimate level Digimons, and like I'm getting all these missions now when I'm like, okay, I'll go play the story, and it's like 3 out of 5 stars on difficulty, and I'm just like beating it like that just because I grind as much as I do.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is almost not fair because I know what to do and how to do it.
That's my Final Fantasy strategy, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like Final Fantasy VII, when the original Final Fantasy VII, I would just go out into the world and just for hours and hours and hours have every possible combination of teammates, and I'd just walk around in tall grass waiting for something to, and just it's stupid random battle nonsense, whatever. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, just hours and hours and hours of just grinding XP until I got everybody to level 99, and then I was like, okay, fine, let's go beat this game.
Yep. Yeah. That's where I'm at. And the only thing that I'm lacking on is finding the quote unquote RAM upgrades, which you're only allotted so many RAM space for your Digimon because they each take up so much space.
Yeah.
And the last game I had all 6 that was available to me on my team, and now I'm just stuck with 3 because I'm not playing the story to get the RAM upgrades.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's a problem.
Yeah. What do you mean? I since I know which ones I should get.
You can beat the game with those 3. I'm
just well, right now I can. If I continue, it's going to be a problem if I'm stuck with 3. But once you get the story, it'll get better. But yeah, that's all I've been doing is, whenever Taven's not crying and saying "Papa," that's what I do.
Nah, that's dope. I just think it's funny that you made fun of me for how many hours I put into Valhalla, and now here you are with Digimon Cyber Sleuth.
I know. I tried to avoid the game, but then I saw it and I was like, oh no, there's a disturbance in the force.
Yeah. It's like Adam used to make fun of me. He'd be like, dude, you used to come to the show every week with something new to talk about, and here we are in like month 3, and all you're talking about is Valhalla still. So.
Assassin's Creed, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
dude. I played a very little bit of that game on my stream, and I like to point out just like dumb video game tropes as they're happening. And I was going through like the opening act of that game, and why is it that they always tell you just crouch? If you see bad guys, just crouch.
Hide in the grass. They'll never see you.
I'm like talking to Chad. I'm like, is it just me? I'm like, can you like, please, like, just if your day is not going great, just crouch. Crouch.
Wait. That reminds me of that one game you were playing. Like it was on stream and like you kept luring them to this like garage where you kept dropping the car.
Oh my god, Hitman 1.
Yes.
Otherwise known as like the second greatest game of all time. Jesus, I had so much. So there's this one level where you have 3 targets to kill in the first Hitman game, and there's a garage, and in the garage there's a car that's up on a lift, and there's a button next to the lift, and I was like, oh. We're gonna see what this button does. There are clips to this on my Twitch channel, by the way. So I press the button, the thing drops, kills the guy standing under it, right? Of course it does. I laughed. I have not laughed this hard in a video game, and so Jesus, I was dying. Like it took me about a minute and a half to compose myself and be able to talk again. And I just pressed the button. And it fell and it crushed the guy, and I turned around, I ran out of the room because I was like, oh my God, no, I'm screwed. They're all going to come now and they're going to get me. And like I could hear the guys talking, and I ran out of the room, and I'm standing outside the building, and I'm using like the little sense where you could see where people are, and like I'm still dying laughing. And I was like, wait, they're not like looking around. They're just standing here looking at the dead guy. So I went back in and I pushed the button, and it smashed the guys that were in there again. And I was at this point, I was like, okay, this is game on. How many people can I kill with this shit? So I started walking around outside of this building, just trying to like raise suspicion to the point where a guy would follow you a little bit, but he wasn't actively chasing you, because there's like a difference in that game. There's like there's multiple levels of awareness that the AI has of you. Like at first they're just like, oh well, we're gonna go check this out. Yeah. So what would happen is I'd like lure people towards the garage, and then I would crouch behind the button. Right. So that way, when the guard came around, he saw the garage, but he couldn't see me. So he saw in the garage, he saw the giant stack of bodies there under the thing. So he would come in and he'd be like, hey, I got to check this out. And as soon as he walked in there to check it out, I just pressed the fucking button and crushed another guy. I killed like 15 guys with this thing. I got one of the actual quest objectives I killed with the goddamn car. It was amazing. There's like the one clip is, the one clip that somebody took of it, it might have been Southtown that took it, but it was, there were 2 guys in there, and they were just both, like one of the guards was like looking over the bodies, and then the other guard was like standing in front of the car so the car wouldn't hit him. And then I went over, I pressed the button, it crushed the guy, right? And the other guy that was standing in front of the car right next to me when I pressed the button didn't notice that I pressed the button. So he went in to go like check on the dead guy. And I'm like, yeah, help him. Wait, hold on. This button helps. And I like pressed the button and killed that guy. Oh my God, I died. It was so
I think
good.
I did clip that.
Jesus, thank you, Hitman. I really needed that. If you've never played Hitman 1, you're missing out.
That's glorious.
I had a whole nother level in that. What was, there was like, You had to go kill people in a mansion, and somewhere over the course of the map, I picked up an explosive golf ball, which you were supposed to use to like go put out on like a green somewhere so that the guy would go out and go drive balls or whatever, and he'd hit it and it'd explode and kill him. Mm-hmm. I didn't go that route with it. And after I killed all my objectives and I was going to the exit of the map, I was like, shit, I still have this explosive golf ball. So like as I'm walking out, there's like a boat that I was going to get in to leave. And so I'm like walking down this dock, and then there's just two random guys fishing at the end of the dock. So I was like, well, I need to see what it does. So I just threw the golf ball at the guys fishing. They exploded. I got in the boat and left. It was great. I was very pleased with myself.
That's brilliant. I love it. Yeah, video game tropes are super fun. I pointed one out on stream with Far Cry 6 because right at the start of the game, you're like hiding in this building and you're waiting for this tank to go, and it moves and then it drives past the doorway. Like it drives past the doorway, and so I'm like, oh, okay. So I run out and I immediately look right where the tank came from because I'm like, I wonder what's over there. And like immediately outside the doorway, it's just like a big pile of rubble and stuff blocking your way. I'm like, how the hell did the tank come from over there?
Yeah, there's like just the spawn. Yeah, this is the spawn point. Like, no.
Yeah, it's great. All right, well, what have you been playing lately, Aaron?
I mean, I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft. So I had an idea for this. So the way that I play video games is so weird because I buy games when they come out, and then they sit around for forever because I'm constantly wrestling with my backlog of games that I have, which I'm sure you guys have.
100%
have the backlog issue as well. So I've considered doing on my Twitch channel just my own little thing called The Adventures of Captain Backlog, because that's where I just pick like a random game that I should have finished forever ago and just go through and finish it. So that's kind of what I'm doing outside of playing WoW right now. I played a little bit of Back 4 Blood. That game's fun. Definitely want to play more of Back 4 Blood. If you're at all a Left 4 Dead fan, it's, the spiritual successor to that. Same team, same people. It is so well done. All the characters are fun. The environments are cool. It gives you the opportunity to be super trolly if that's what you want to be, or be super stealthy if you want to. I'm just saying, if you're playing the online multiplayer, right, and there's somebody in your lobby that's being a dickhead, wait for him to be standing by the birds and then shoot the birds. Okay. All right. I'm not going to tell you what happens. I'm just going to say, do that.
Yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
But it's that game is fun. I'm still super early on in that, obviously. And then I started finally playing a little more of the game that was the reason that I bought the PlayStation 5, which is Demon's Souls.
Right.
So
okay.
I've been playing some Demon's Souls. I love the Souls series. And I have Demon's Souls I didn't play on PlayStation 3.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. The game looks great. It plays the way that you would expect a From Software game. Bluepoint did a great job with it. It's just super, super good game. The environments are awesome. It's everything, the good and the bad that you would expect from a Souls game.
Yeah, I'm a huge From Software fan as well. I've played Dark Souls like 4 or 5 times at this point. I've never actually played 2 and 3, which maybe that makes me not a huge Souls fan, but I just really like Dark Souls 1. I did play Demon's Souls on PS3, and then I love Bloodborne. Played that a couple times.
Bloodborne's so good.
Yeah.
That game is so good. And then I played Sekiro as well. I think so Sekiro I played on PC. I bought that on Steam. I was so glad that I was able to buy that game on Steam. And I own Dark Souls 1 on several different platforms, including the remaster. I started playing through the remaster, which was great, because it's cool having the actual frame rates and graphics for that game that it kind of deserves. You know what I mean?
100%.
but yeah, those From Software games are all really good. The one that I've played the least of is Dark Souls 2 as well. So I have it, but I haven't. That's the one that I haven't finished. I obviously haven't finished Demon Souls yet, but that's of the Souls series. That's the one that I didn't finish.
Very good. Yeah. No, you mentioned Demon Souls and Blue Point. So have you heard the rumors that they are remastering Bloodborne as well?
Does Bloodborne need to be remastered?
So no, but you talk about the frame rate that those games deserve. Bloodborne is still stuck on PS4 at 30 frames per second.
It is real chuggy. That is true. That is true. It would be nice. It would be nice to see that get some some 1080p 60 frames love on PlayStation 5. I'd play through it again.
Me too, 100%.
So I'd give them another $40 or $50 or whatever they charge for it. They can't charge $80 for it. I'm sorry. They can't do that. If they charge $60, they better give me the DLC.
For sure. I mean, they're raising the price of their first party games was pretty tough pill to swallow for a lot of people, for sure.
Yeah, from $59 to $69, and the first game they did that with was Returnal, right? Which I haven't played yet, but I've heard great things.
I mean, they did it with Demon Souls at launch of the PS5.
Oh, see, I got my Demon Souls with my PS5. I bought a bundle from Ant Online. So
they at launch they had Demon Souls at $69. So
wow, yeah. I mean, I get it. It's something that's been bound to happen for a while, and for games that aren't a service, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? Because like if it's if you're playing like a Fortnite or like a something else like that, it's then no. You're going to try and kill me in microtransactions and with, skins and all other and loot boxes and whatever other bullshit store stuff you have. So no, I'm not giving you $70 for the game.
Yeah,
but when God of War Ragnarok comes out, you better believe I'm spending $70 on it.
Oh, me too. Me too. Just take my money right away. Yeah, that game's so good. All right, well, let's kick it in. I mean, it's great. I absolutely love this show so far. Talking to you is so great. You have so much clear enthusiasm for games, and I haven't wanted to stop any of it. But normally, we're sort of into the topics of the show. I'm sure you're much
farther into the show usually. I talk, dude, like I said, I just run my mouth. I can't help it.
No, it's great. I love it. And I know our listeners. I know our listeners will love it too. But let's go ahead and get into the topics of the show. There's not really a huge amount of news right now this week. It's just a lot of video game releases. Not much news stories. With the Video Game Awards coming up early December, that's probably when we'll get a lot of big news again. So for this week, what I decided to do was come up with something that I thought would be really fun to talk about. And that is, what are the games of our youth that were just seminal to us as gamers and getting us into the medium and were so important for us. And why they're important, because and the reason I wanted to talk about this is I keep thinking about it a lot. Like, what are the games that I play right now that I think are just transformational? And I don't think that there are many. God of War 2018 was one of them. The Last of Us is another one. But there aren't many. And so I'm kind of like, I've been thinking about it as, well, our game's not as good as they were when we were kids. And I don't know if that's necessarily true, but that's why I wanted to kind of talk about what games were so important to us growing up and why they were so important to us. And just kind of start from there and see if we can kind of get to the bottom of this. But on this one, I will start with you, Aaron. Go ahead. What games were...
All right, so you outlining what this part is going to be made me think of something that ties back to the last segment of what we're playing. And that's Metroid, right? Okay. So it's probably the most... it's the underdog of Nintendo, right? Because people waited for years and years and years and years for another proper 2D Metroid. Now Metroid Dread is out, and by the way, if you haven't played it and you own a Switch, you have no excuse. Buy Metroid Dread. It's so good. It is everything that the world needed in a 2D Metroid right now. And if you like any of the games that we talked about, like the Souls series or any of those adventure games, they are all called Metroidvanias. And so without Metroid, those games don't exist. Just the idea of going through the world, having to go back through the world multiple times as you find different abilities that allow you to progress the game. Samus is a badass in the game. By the way, it's also it's also a female protagonist, which is super cool. Yep. She's always been awesome, and in this game, she's a badass. Unlike in I don't know if you guys played Metroid Other M, but she was there's some mixed feelings about Metroid Other M.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I missed Other M,
but yeah, it's really good. So moving on to that, so the first Metroid was like a super cool thing for me because I remember when there wasn't the internet, right? There wasn't a place where I could go and watch the end of the game and see the spoiler. And not a lot of my friends had Nintendos. And if they did have Nintendos, they weren't playing Metroid. So I remember the end of the first Metroid when I was like, I've spent hours and hours and hours learning to be this character. And then the part at the end where the suit like kind of disappears and it's like, holy shit, I've been playing as a girl the whole time. That's awesome, right? So it was like the first time ever that they were like, okay, a girl can be a badass in a video game. And I thought that was pretty sick. Yeah. That was one of the ones that I look back at vividly. Obviously the Mario games and the Zelda games, of course, but like with Zelda, it was always, you were saving the damsel in distress. And it's like, at some point, Zelda, get your shit together, all right? Yeah. Stop making this guy sleep until you get in trouble again and then wake his ass up. And he doesn't remember the last time that he saved your ass, okay? He doesn't remember he's got to go through the whole world, learn how to do all the shit all over again because you can't get it together, all right? Yeah. Figure it out. Samus is the other end of that spectrum. She's like, no, I'm the badass here. Mm-hmm. So, but I do love, that said, I'm joking. I do love the Zelda games, but it's kind of true. And that's why it's funny. Then going forward, some of the other games that I remember vividly, and not even necessarily, there's games that aren't necessarily from my youth that I remember very vividly. Like my entire back is tattooed, and it is a massive Big Daddy with 3 little sisters around him. So Bioshock was a super important game to me. I think that the achievement that was made in storytelling in that game is, at the time there was nothing like that. It was like, wow, holy shit. When that plot twist happened, when the whole would you kindly thing happened, if you haven't played Bioshock, I'm not going to tell you what the plot twist is. I'm just going to tell you that there is one. And go play Bioshock. There's a remaster of that as well. You can buy all 3. You can get all 3 games together, and it's pretty cheap. I think there's actually, I saw somewhere the other day that like it was on sale for $10 for all the games. Yeah, super worth it. It was on
PlayStation Plus.
Aged really well. People gave it shit when it came out, but now people are seeing, oh wait, maybe this game is good. Yeah. So, but so that the Mass Effect series, super important. Mass Effect, super important to me. I played through all of Mass Effect 1 on stream when the remasters came out. So I played through all of Mass Effect 1. I played through a little bit of Mass Effect 2. And then like when you're talking about remasters, there's one game that I would love to see remastered. And you were talking about Assassin's Creed earlier. Mm-hmm. This isn't an Assassin's Creed game, but pretty please, can I get Splinter Cell? Can I get a really pretty version of if you're not going to make a new Splinter Cell, I would, first option, new Splinter Cell, pretty please, and thank you. If I can't have that, give me the first Splinter Cell experience again with today's graphics, and it'd be super sick.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. Actually, I was doing a bunch of research before the show. I wanted to come prepared, right? I didn't want to not know who you were as a gamer and everything. And I heard that that Bioshock was your favorite game and that you played it like 8 times. Is it still true? Is it still your favorite game?
Yeah. Remember how I said that I think it's on sale for $10? I bought it for PC so that I could play it again on stream.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. I own it on PC and I own it on PlayStation and I own it on Xbox 360 from when I originally bought it when it came out.
Yep, absolutely. absolutely. Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and then I bought the remasters, and then I just got it on Steam.
Yeah. Now, I actually must confess, I've never played 2 or Infinite. I just played and loved the first one, and for whatever reason in life, the number 2 and Infinite, they just didn't cross paths with me when they came out, and I've never actually gone back and played them.
Yeah, there are some personal memories with those games for me too. Because my wife doesn't play a lot of video games. She does play WoW with me. Kind of the reason I went back to play classic WoW is because it gave me a way to do something with my wife while I'm not home.
Cool.
So like I started playing it while I was on tour, and like me and her can, we can do quests and shit together while I'm not home. And like, it's a way for us to interact without me being there. So, and it kind of makes being on tour go a little faster. For the parts that need to go faster. The show parts are great. I love those parts. I could do that forever, but honestly, that's about an hour and a half of my day. And the rest of it is a lot of sitting around doing nothing. So having that distraction is great. Bioshock was one of those series that my whole family would sit down and watch me play the games. My oldest daughter, who's 25 now, those were the only games she ever played. Like she not a huge gamer, but she beat Bioshock 1, she beat Bioshock 2, and when Infinite came out, she's like, Dad, I'm going to play. She's like, did you buy it yet? Because I'm going to play.
That's awesome. Well, so if she's 25, that means when Bioshock 1 came out, she would have been like, doing math quickly, like 10?
Yeah, Bioshock 1 was what, 04, right?
Or I think it was 07. I think it was 07.
Yeah, so she was 11. She was 11, yeah.
And she played it when it came out?
Yeah.
More because I'm not even gonna lie. When it came out and I first started playing, and the whole Big Daddies and Little Sisters came across, I was out. I was like you with Resident Evil 7. I couldn't do it. I was legitimately,
it is a scary game.
As a freshman in college, sure. I was out.
There's some big jump scares in that game too.
Yeah.
So, but the story behind what I liked about 2 was how they really dig into that relationship between like the Big Daddies and the Little Sisters. You play as Delta, which is like the first ever Big Daddy.
Okay.
And it's just a cool story. The boss in that game is horrifying, which if you've played Bioshock is it's a weird thing for me because it is my favorite game of all time, but maybe my least favorite final boss of all time.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they kind of fell short with the end of that.
Yeah.
Whereas in this game, it was it was Big Sister and she was a badass character, and it was
Cool. Well, Adam, let me kick it over to you. What about you in terms of formative games from your youth?
Well, for me, it was more like I had to really think about it, because I was like, what games did I like attach myself to like when I was a kid? Because I remember only being player 2 up until I was about 11, and that's whenever me and my mom left to start a new life. Long story short, and so things just kind of just went, haywire there for a while. Okay, and what I ended up. How do I say this? What I ended up coming to the conclusion of is that throughout all the stuff that I played with player 2, I didn't really attach myself to it because I never was the one in charge, if that makes any sense.
No, I'm with you.
So, like, after thinking about it for a while, I realized that the games that I ended up, formulating me was just basically like your Mortal Kombat, and then going back to what we were talking about with music, Driver 2, I would pop in Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory and just drive. Like, I never played the story ever. I still haven't played it, but that's what I would do. I would just play Linkin Park, drive, avoid the cops, and just, if I die, start the album over.
Oh, okay.
And then obviously, Phil knows this, but like all the wrestling games, like I have a giant collection of SmackDown versus Raw, WWE games, and all this other stuff. And it is when I met Phil that I got into Call of Duty, because that's whenever we had our crew, which, interesting tidbit, our crew that we ran with went 76 consecutive wins on
which Call of Duty did you start with?
I started with Modern Warfare, and then with them, I started on Modern Warfare 2, and then transferred over into Modern Warfare 3.
Okay.
And Black Ops. Black Ops was the other big one we played.
Yeah.
Yes.
Together.
Yeah. But Black Ops is whenever I started kind of like losing interest in it. Just because, I was becoming a very angry person, and that's not who I wanted to be.
Yeah. I played a lot of the first Modern Warfare. So Call of Duty 4. I played a lot of that one. That was the first one that I played online multiplayer in, for sure.
Me too. Like Shipment was it for me on that one.
Dude, so good.
Yeah.
So good. You just, go 3 grenades and just chuck them right at the beginning of the round and then go hide.
Yeah.
And then just snipe all the people just pick off all the people that are running around.
Yeah.
What was your gun?
Honestly, I can't remember. I know it was a SMG. I just don't remember which one at this point.
Yeah, it was. I played a lot of MP5 in that game and a lot of M4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember the word carbide being in there.
The M4 carbine. Yep.
Okay, maybe that's what was it too.
Yep.
Yeah, because you and I used to run and gun a lot, and then our buddy Tyler would always be the sniper.
Yeah,
he loved sniping.
He was in the top 1% at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
trash at sniping.
He was good at sniping. But keep going, Adam.
Yeah, and like going back to Call of Duty, like we were, I was the guy that was running and gunning, popping off the grenade launcher and stuff like that, telling them, hey, this is where they're at. I just got killed. And Tyler's like, okay, this is very nonchalant, very calm and collected. And I had that along with my javelin. I was attached to that very, very fondly, and the sticker grenades. But those are the games that I attached myself to. And the older I got, the more I'm like, I kind of just want to just do single player for a while, because the online multiplayer stuff and then the versus stuff just kind of didn't really do it for me anymore. So I just ended up just doing storyline based stuff after that.
Yeah, for me with those games, with especially the Call of Duty games, I had this weird thing where I wouldn't touch the multiplayer until I beat the story.
Mm-hmm. So
that was like a weird thing. So I'd always be kind of lumped in with the Christmas noobs, because because I was playing the game before I started playing multiplayer. So like everybody's already ranked up and got guns and shit by the time I got in there. So, but yeah, those games were all great. I have some really good memories of old wrestling games too, but they were WWF wrestling games back then.
Oh, the Hulk Hogan. Let me tell you something, brother.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Perfect, all that shit.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I'm starting to see a through thread to all of our favorite games, and I'll give you sort of mine too, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So the formative games for me, number one was Super Mario World. That was the first game I remember really playing as a kid. Super Mario World and Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo. Those were the first games that I really remember playing as a kid. Super Nintendo was my first console, so that kind of ages me, I guess, a little bit in this bracket. But yeah, I'm 33, so a little bit younger. But that was my first console. It was my first game that I remember beating as a kid and feeling that accomplishment. And so that's why that one was important to me. And then kind of moving forward, the next game that was really, really good for me was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and Pro Skater 2. Now, those games came out sort of back to back within a year of each other. And also at the same time was Dr. Dre's 2001 album. And so I remember as a 12-year-old kid just kind of like learning and growing up, starting to grow up and, being interested in girls and, those kinds of things. I would go over to a buddy's house and we would just put Dr. Dre's 2001 album on and play Tony Hawk's like all night. And and that was, that was so cool to me, and so it intersected at such a great time in my life. That's why that one kind of really stands out. But the game that made me a gamer, the game that once I played it, the moment I saw it and I played it for the first time, I knew that this was going to be a part of who I was for the rest of my life, was Halo 1. I went into a mall when I was, I don't know, whenever that game came out in 2001. So I went into a mall. I was probably 12. I went into the game store, saw the kiosk, and I saw Halo running on it. And I didn't play Doom. I played GoldenEye on the N64.
Yeah, no, if you played consoles, that was the first time you got an actual first-person shooter experience that was playable, because the thumbsticks, the left and right stick changed the game.
That's right. Yep. And so when I saw this, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe that something like this existed. And I've told this story on the podcast before, but I'll tell it again for Aaron. I went home immediately and I was like, Mom, I have to have this console, because all I had was a PlayStation at the time. And she's like, I'm not buying you another console. You have this one. And I was like, I'll do anything you want to get this console. And she thought about it for a day and came back and said, well, and because she was trying to think of something I would never do. And she's like,
something that never happened.
Right. And she's like, well, your dad and I have been talking about painting the house for a long time, the exterior of the house. If you paint the whole exterior of the house, I'll buy you this console. I said, deal. And she went and bought all the paint the next day. And I spent that entire week, I painted the entire exterior of the house. And I think I blew my mother away so much that she's just like, all right, well, here you go. Let's go get it. And she took me down to the store, bought me an Xbox console and Halo 1 and the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring game. Those are the two that I got with it. And that was sort of the moment that I knew I was a gamer, and just the immersion, the first-person shooter aspect, the Space Marine story. I mean, I was already a big Star Wars fan at that point in my life, so seeing something like that, super cool. And then after that, the next game for me was just like Adam said, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare, because it was me, it was Adam, our other co-host Mike, and our other co-host Jason, and then our friend Tyler, who doesn't do the show. He's not really into doing podcasts, but we all worked at Lowe's together, all of us, and we all kind of came together because we all liked video games, and we all started playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and that game was what introduced me to online multiplayer and the social aspect of how to keep with friends playing video games. And so those are the games that really were formative for me. And the through thread that I'm noticing is that each game, for all of us, there's always some kind of emotional attachment to it, something about where it was in our life, what it did for us, and what drew us into that game. And that's what I'm noticing the through thread is for all of us. And so I think that's probably what makes a game formative. And in that regard, I guess you can never really know which game is going to pull for any one person. It could be anything. I mean, as much as we hate on Fortnite could be the first online multiplayer game that you get as a kid that you really learn playing with another friend online. And so that may be what's formative for kids these days.
And what Fortnite did, you can any hate that Fortnite gets can only be for the blatant monetization or the crunch that they put those poor programmers through to keep that cycle, just to keep getting you to swipe your credit card. But I don't think anyone can argue that it's a great game. It's not an original idea, but
no,
neither is really anything. They did it. They did it well. They made it accessible. They made it, and then they got lucky and had some people make it cool, which put them into, the way that blew up. First, you remember PUBG coming out and people just being like, oh my God, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. You got to play this game. It's horrifying. Yeah. You got to play this game. And then, Fortnite took that same formula, but took some of the fear out of it, because PUBG was scary at certain, certain points. You're like, oh shit, these people are out to get me, It was the whole Hunger Games kind of thing. And then, Fortnite came out and kind of made it a little more, a little more cartoony and a little less dangerous. And it was just so well done. Epic is such a, if you played the God of War game, or not the Gears of War games, it's just dude, that was Epic Games. Now it's not Epic Games anymore that makes the Gears of War games, but that was Epic Games. Yep. So, but yeah, the way that just happened as a free mode that they put out as kind of a joke, And that ended up blowing up and turning that game, because it was like basically just it's just like, it was a base building game. Like you built a base and you defended it from like zombies. Like that was,
it wasn't selling well at the time either.
It really wasn't.
Yeah.
And then then they released that free mode. I was like, oh shit. They found it by complete accident.
Yeah. I think one of the keys to the success of Fortnite is, like you said, the cartoony aspect of it, because it's still a brutal game. It's still pretty violent, right? It's still got the Hunger Games aspect of it, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way when you're playing it and watching it as well, like as a parent watching someone play it.
Yeah.
And so I think it drew in a lot of the younger crowd that PUBG could never draw in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so I mean, so kind of to the next step of this topic, what games, I mean, we've mentioned Fortnite. Are there other games out right now or in the near past that you think could be formative to the next generation of gamers?
Well, I mean, this is definitely the Fortnite generation. And as a father, I have 3 kids that they vary in ages. I can say for my oldest daughter, really the only game that she ever played was Bioshock, and she's not really a gamer, but she is she's a musician. She's actually a kindergarten, or she's actually an elementary school music teacher.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So that's what she does for a living. And then my youngest daughter is 22. She is very much a gamer. And it's funny. I mentioned that my son was playing Kingdom Hearts earlier, and that was probably the most formative game for my youngest daughter, Kay, was the Kingdom Hearts series in general. So she just spent so many hours and hours and hours just, in that world and doing all that. And I would say, for my son, for this generation, it's gotta be Roblox. It's gotta be.
Cool.
Like, because it's just, there are so many that, well, first off, it's so accessible. Right, you can play it on a phone, you can play it on an iPad, you can play it on a computer, you can play it on consoles, right. And it's all user generated content. Mm-hmm. So it's just like Roblox itself is just a set of tools, and then it's just games that the community makes, and then you play the community games, and it's janky and it's hard to play. My son has asked me to play with him a bunch of times, and I play with him and I'm like, dude, this sucks. And he's like, no, this is the best thing ever. This is buy me Robux. Like, I need money to spend in this game. Like, why? Stop. But it's like, I mean, I might not get it, but like, that's what this like young generation, they're all just like, oh my God, Roblox. So, and then he also, he's into VR. He has an Oculus Quest 2, and I have an Oculus Rift, and he has used my Oculus Rift more than I have, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah, he plays Roblox in VR, and then there's another thing. There's a VR it's sort of Robloxy. It's called Rec Room. That's in VR. And it's like, as a parent, it's hard because you got to kind of monitor it. And I'm like, dude, okay, so you're 10. The internet is not what it says it is. No matter what someone tells you, no matter who they tell you that they are, or how old they say they are, or whatever they say about themselves, you can't believe them because you're on the internet. Okay, does that make sense to you? It's like, and it's very important. Don't ever tell anyone who you are. Don't ever tell anyone where you live. Mm-hmm. And I understand that you're proud of me and you're proud of your dad, but please don't tell anyone who I am. Like, because it opens the door to a lot of like, and you try to explain it as a parent, and like, I'm not trying to scare him. Right. But at the same time, I need to understand that there's like certain risks for like the digital space for someone who's his age, you know what I mean? Right. And it's really, it's really easy for them to be talked into stuff and like, Just like, don't tell people your name, dude. Don't tell people who I am, because then they'll just like see you as a target. That's really all. I just don't want people in video games to see him as a target. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right on the cusp of the same conversation with my oldest daughter turns 10 in December. And I'm right sort of on that same cusp of that same conversation. Her favorite game is Animal Crossing.
Okay. Yeah.
She plays so much Animal Crossing.
That's another one. Yeah. That's another one for sure.
Yeah. So I think that one has a shout. Minecraft is very similar to Roblox.
Minecraft, huge. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Adam, do you think it's a little bit like sad for us, the older generation, that the formative games are going to be these social multiplayer games rather than, the Super Mario Worlds and the Mortal Kombats and the things that we grew up on?
Yeah, I think it's pretty sad that, they're not going to have the same experience that we did, but at the same time there is some hope, because I've been thinking for like the past 5 minutes. I can't think of the name of this game. It's the one that went up for Game of the Year, the one where they were sending death threats to the character.
Oh, The Last of Us.
See, there's hope, because games like that are immersive. Like you attach yourself to it, and I mean, even so to the point to where people are sending death threats to the actor. But for the most part, Fortnite and Roblox and all that other stuff, that's what takes the spotlight, and that's what I don't like, because there's so much other stuff out there that they can attach themselves to. And as much as I hate remasters, I mean, there's a chance for them to experience that in a high def world on some of the remasters that come out. But
did either of you play Last of Us Part 2?
Oh yeah, I did.
I watched it. I didn't play it.
Holy shit, I was mad. Like, that game made me, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, people, come on. Now, that the actor isn't the actual person. That none of these people are actual people. It is a video game, and they're telling you a story to make you feel an emotion. It is scripted to make you feel an emotion. Mm-hmm. And it was very successful in doing that. I remember when I first started playing it, like the next day I streamed and I said that I had started playing The Last of Us Part 2. And I was just like, and someone asked me how far into the game I was. And I was like, I'm just far enough in to be mad.
Yeah. I mean, I assume you're talking about the Joel scene. We've talked about it on the show. I guess spoiler warning a little bit, but we've talked about it on the show. It's past the due date now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I assume you're talking about the Joel scene.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, the audacity, like, you just made me play as this bitch. And I didn't even know at the time what was about to happen to me.
Yeah.
Like, I played through that whole Ellie storyline and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. This is where it's coming to. And then we get to the theater and they just like flip the switch and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I have to play this whole entire timeline again?
Yeah.
As this bitch?
Yeah.
What? Oh, dude. I was sitting there like, I can't tell you how many times I jumped her off a building. I ran her in front of a car. I was like, I don't want to help you. I don't want to help you. I just want you to die. And then, but here's what happened with that game is that by the end of it, my brain was able to realize that, oh, wait, this is them being very smart. This is them showing you that in every experience in life, you may only necessarily see it from your own perspective. And you need to know that there's an opposite perspective to that.
Yeah.
And whether you agree with it or not, you at least need to validate it that it's there. Right.
Yeah.
So, yes, I still wanted that bitch to die. It was, I can see what Naughty Dog was doing. I applaud them for what they were trying to do. It was something that I had never experienced before in video games. And I'm thankful for the experience of it, even though it was like 50 hours of misery.
Yeah. Yeah, that game is absolutely the embodiment of Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. You need to take a moment to put on someone else's skin and walk around in their shoes for a day.
Yeah.
And that's what that game is. That's the embodiment of it. And I mean, I'll admit, by the end of it, I was so conflicted. That choice that you get at the end, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I hate her, but at the same time, I understand her and I understand what she did. And that was, I mean, from a storytelling perspective, it's one of the best out there that you can find.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm just gonna, hey, Naughty Dog, if you're listening, don't make a third one. Stop.
Don't make a third one, because Sony will make them.
Don't make a third one. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, they should have left it alone after the first.
No one's gonna be happy. Just go read reviews for Mass Effect 3 right now. Like, listen to me, Mr. Naughty Dog. Go read reviews for Mass Effect 3.
Yep.
There is no benefit to you to make a third game.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So, I mean, I guess to wrap this topic up, I think the consensus here is that there is games today that are of the same quality. They're just different. They're a different experience, and it's different what draws in kids these days. And that's okay, as long as they get into the medium and they're open to these other experiences one day.
Yeah, I think it's cool. What I think is cool about it is that from our perspective, when and I'll de-age myself and say that we're all from basically the same generation. So, but for us, it was, we played a curated experience, whether it was a single player game, a multiplayer game, whatever. It was put in front of us. The cool thing about the Call of Duties was that we were able to, every game was going to be different somehow, but it was always the same thing. It was like 6v6, go in. Once you get 100 kills, the game's over. Or it was a single player story game that was on rails. There weren't a lot of open world adventure games when I first started playing video games. I don't know about you guys, but there weren't many of them. Obviously, that's become a more popular medium now. Mm-hmm. But for kids, they're in a space where they're able to create their own content so much easier. Like, we would have never dreamed of like designing our own video game after we played Super Mario Brothers, right. But now they can play a game in Roblox and be like, okay, well, I'm going to go build myself a level. Or they can join somebody else's server in Minecraft and then go back and be like, well, I'm going to build my own world and tell my own story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a really cool thing that they have that we didn't have. So that's something that we can absolutely, we can look back with rose-colored glasses at our gaming youth, but I think they have access to all of that. Plus, they get this, this new wave of, just like creation where they have more control.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful point, and I hope that as we grow older and they become the ones making the games, that the wealth of creativity and what we will be able to experience 10 years from now or 20 years from now will just continue to grow, because so many more creative children are allowed to express through these games and learn how to do that. You've got Little Big Planet, you've got Dreams, you've got Minecraft, you've got Roblox. There's so many creative tools out there. Nintendo just did that one that teaches you how to make games. I can't remember what it was called. I can't remember which game that is. But there was also Mario Maker. Mario Maker, yeah, cool. And so that's kind of my hope, is that there's so much there, and it's going to capture the imagination and attention of creative children that might choose to make video games in their adulthood, and it's just going to make it a better medium for even us old cranky ones that just want to go back to Super Mario World and Metroid and Castlevania.
Yeah, we're not far off from living in a world where some 15-year-old puts out an indie game that ends up on Game Pass or on the Steam store that takes over the world.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Adam, anything else you want to add to this before we hit the new speed run?
Actually, yes. I mentioned all the games that have impacted me. I forgot one. It was Rock Band.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Guitar Hero is like what opened the world for me. Like, just playing that and, doing the everything the wrong way, but like learning like, hey, my fingers are actually kind of in the right position. And then Rock Band came out and, changed the game. And, I guess in a way, like I kind of like vicariously put myself on the same stage as all these other guys that I'm listening to. And as a matter of fact, you can see it behind me, this Guitar Hero Metallica.
Yeah.
Just because that's one of my favorite Guitar Heroes. And that's the one with, the drums and everything else.
It was a brilliant combination of two mediums.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I still argue with everyone saying I'm waiting for Rock Band Breaking Benjamin version, but that's neither here nor there.
There's some songs on there. I think
the whole like we need this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Breaking Benjamin.
I mean, I'm not saying we're not Metallica or the Beatles or Aerosmith. You know what I'm saying?
Well, for some people, like specifically,
for some people
we
are. For some people we are. But I'm not.
Yeah, no, I got my Guitar Hero guitar hanging on the wall back there. I can't play music, but I can play Guitar Hero like a champ.
Yeah, I can't play Guitar Hero. I'm terrible. I'm just
That's funny.
I'm just garbage.
That's funny. Awesome. Well, actually, before we get out of this topic, I did want to mention one other thing that I didn't get to earlier. You mentioned Samus and Metroid and how playing as a badass female character was so cool. And I just wanted, again, like this show, I feel like the two of us coming together, it's so brilliant because I've talked about the same concept on the show before. As a father of two little girls, I love the fact that we have so many badass female characters in games. And Samus was one of the first, Samus, and then Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider games.
Yeah.
And I just think that's so brilliant. And I'm sure that those games, I mean, they're formative to you for reasons, and I'm sure they're formative to many others for different reasons. And I'm glad that they're out there, and I love that so much. That, that you brought that up.
Absolutely. And Naughty Dog was like real big on female characters as well. Even with the Uncharted games, like the female co-lead in the Uncharted games was always a great character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you on that too. Yeah, they've always done female characters really well. Ellie is amazing in The Last of Us.
As a dad, that game was that first Last of Us game. Well, obviously the opening was rough. Like I was like, I know what's gonna happen here. This sucks.
Yep. That was one of the first times that a game made me cry. Was that opening sequence in The Last of Us? Yeah,
it's like you're just sitting. I equate it to standing on the train tracks and just watching the train come and knowing that it's going to hit you, but you can't move. Mm-hmm. Like that's it. Mm-hmm. It's terrible.
Yeah, for anyone listening, if you haven't played The Last of Us, Joel's daughter dies at the very start of the game. And then the whole rest of the game is about him kind of rebuilding that relationship with Ellie, and sort of a father-daughter relationship but it's not really his daughter. And it's always sad because it's not really his daughter because you remember watching her get killed at the start of the game. But yeah, I love it. I love that game.
Yeah.
All right. Let's kick it over into the news speed run. So we'll kick it off. A new PlayStation State of Play was revealed this week, and it was just about anyone's guess as to what the company would present. The show, which aired on the shorter side at just about 20 minutes, was streamed on October 27th and brought new announcements and updates for forthcoming third-party releases heading to the PS4 and PS5. Notably, Little Devil Inside, a Victorian-like era action-adventure title first revealed in 2020, made its return during the show. A sequel to Let It Die titled Death First was announced with a spring release, along with a new update for Bug Snacks that blows the food-based buggers up to Jurassic proportions. Then we got a new SNK fighter, King of Fighters 15, which will get an open beta on November 19th. Square Enix announced a return to the sci-fi-filled, character-driven world of Star Ocean, with Star Ocean: The Divine Force set to launch on PS4 and PS5 in 2022. Then Xbox and PC indie Death's Door is now coming to PS4 and PS5 and Switch on November 23rd. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach was given a release date of December 16th. Another new Mario Kart-esque racing game called Kart Rider Drift was announced, coming in 2022. And finally, First Class Trouble, a new social deduction game, will be available with PS Plus starting on November 2. Aaron, did you get to check out the State of Play?
I did not watch the State of Play, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch it because I knew God of War wasn't going to be there.
So true.
I was like, no, you're not talking about God of War. You're not talking about Horizon. That's another amazing female character, by the way, calling back to that. Like, What a great game. If you didn't play Horizon Zero Dawn, go play Horizon Zero Dawn. Jesus Christ. I definitely have the platinum trophy for that game.
Oh, same here. Yep.
Nice.
Brilliant. Adam, what about you? Did you get a chance to check it out?
I did not. I've been extremely busy planning a clay shooting event next March.
Oh, all right.
Very good. Well, I did check it out. It was definitely one of the weaker PlayStation State of Play events. I didn't like much, but Death's Door looks really cool. Death's Door is coming from Devolver Digital, and we've talked so much on the show already about From Software games and about Zelda games and how they're a marriage of the two. Death's Door is a marriage of those two games to the T. It looks super cool. Apparently, it came out earlier this year on Xbox and PC, and I totally missed it. But Death's Door looks really neat. It's on November 23rd, it'll be on every platform you could possibly imagine. So I definitely, if you're into Zelda and you're into From Software games, go check out the trailer for Death's Door. This game looks really cool. All right,
Bug Snacks update. Look out.
Yeah, did you play that game?
I didn't. It was even though it was the free game, I own it. So because it was the free PS5 game for the 1 month with PlayStation Plus, but I haven't played it. Because I'm terrible like that. It'll probably in like 2 years I'll go back and go back. That's about how far behind I am in my backlog.
I feel you.
Stuff. It's ridiculous. So, but what did Star Ocean look like? Because I remember I played the first Star Ocean on PlayStation 2, I think it was.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it looks very Japanese. So, if you're into, Japanese RPGs, I mean, it definitely looked like one of those. But no, graphically, it was pretty impressive. I was actually kind of drawn to it, but I know, like, it has to be a really good, like Final Fantasy VII. It has to be really good to get me. So I probably won't check this one out. But
did you play Remake?
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool.
For sure.
Right,
yeah. All
right.
Come on now.
I gotta make sure. I like it. That was a game where I really I was okay with the changes that they made. I'm okay with what they're doing with the story so far. I'm all right with where it sits right now, and I hope I'm still alive when part 2 comes out.
Yeah, so true. No, I loved Remake because, again, talking about badass female characters, you got two in Tifa and why am I drawing a blank all of a sudden on her name? Aerith, thank you. They're so cool, and I actually played through that whole game with my two daughters. They watched me play that whole game, and they loved it. They actually dressed up as Tifa and Aerith for like weeks after I finished that game. Yeah, so that game is so cool and so great for its female characters as well.
Yeah, they're probably sitting there the whole time going, why is the guy with the gun hand talk like that?
Yeah, they didn't really understand.
Yeah.
But,
Barrett's just mad.
Yeah.
He just be like that. He's just mad.
He had a rough coming up, so you gotta give him some breaks.
Yeah, I respect it.
All right, sticking with PlayStation news, a major new update was released for Returnal on Tuesday, October 26th. The version 2.0 patch adds a new suspend cycle feature, which lets players pause their cycle and continue it later. This means players can exit the game and turn off their console fully without losing their progress during a session, something that wasn't possible before. That was a big sticking point when the game first launched. The new update
I will now play that game. I will now play. That was the reason. That was like what was holding me back from playing that game.
Yeah.
Because I know how like flighty my time can be sometimes, and I didn't want to be in the middle of a thing and like get something important and then have to do it all over again because I had to step away from the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people missed it because of that same reason. And I know a lot of people were worried that, people will figure out how to game the system now. Go look at the patch notes. I think the developer Housemarque have come up with a really neat way of doing it. So you can't just game this feature. Like you can't do it in the middle of a boss fight, things like that. So if you're worried about adding a suspend cycle, don't. Go check out the patch notes. They did a really cool way. And now players like Aaron can come in and check out what is an actually really wonderful game. I really, really liked it. It's great. I wish I could have gone for the platinum trophy, but the one like game decision that they made that I really don't like is they tied the collectibles, which adds a lot of storytelling to the game, they tied those to the randomly generated rooms. So like I tried to go back and try to get all the collectibles, and I probably did like 20 runs in that first area and still never got the room that had the last collectible that I needed for the first area. And I finally I finally just gave up and was like, this sucks. And
yeah, collectibles is the reason I don't have the platinum trophy in the 2018 God of War, because I haven't had the patience to go back and find all of Odin's ravens. There's I'm missing like 10 or something, and then I have to beat the last Valkyrie.
Oh yeah, they get really hard. No, I definitely have the God of War platinum. I definitely cheated though and went and looked for a guide for those ravens because I wasn't about to spend my time wasted on.
Oh yeah, that would have been. Well, see, the thing is, I'd have to remember which areas I didn't have. So I guess it tells you how many ravens you have left in each zone, right?
Yeah, I
think
that's
it does. Something I guess I could go back and watch a guide and do that, play that on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. The new update also adds a photo mode to the game, allowing players to pause the game at any point except during first-person sequences and move the camera around to take a photo, then tinker with various filters and features to modify it. They did a little quick shot on what you can do. It looks really neat. It actually like completely changes the way the game looks, some of the filters and stuff you can add. And that game already is super colorful and super vibrant to look at. So it's a photo mode makes absolute sense for this. So very excited for that. I'm actually thinking about re-downloading Returnal and maybe going for that platinum finally, just because I'm excited to go back into that world. It was so good.
Yeah, I definitely might check it out now.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, we got a bunch of Blizzard news this week. We've talked about this story a lot on this show, and I feel like it's always important to kind of keep up with what's happening next in this scandal, whatever you want to call it. Certainly a big, situation going on at that studio.
It's just all around fuckery.
Yeah, bad deal. Yeah. So Blizzard has canceled its next BlizzCon event following the sexual discrimination and harassment scandal, which has tarnished the studio's reputation. The World of Warcraft and Diablo maker, which is at the center of ongoing lawsuits being faced by its parent company, Activision Blizzard, related to toxic workplace culture, also said on Tuesday that it plans to, quote, reimagine the long-running event. The annual fan convention has traditionally been held each November in California and was scheduled to be a hybrid event, mixing the formula of February 2021's BlizzConline, nice wordplay there, with, quote, smaller in-person gatherings, end quote, in early 2022. That's obviously not happening anymore. Aaron, you're a big WoW fan.
I am a huge Blizzard Entertainment fan, just in general. So one of the other formative games I would say would be Diablo 1.
Okay.
And Diablo 2. Diablo 1 was probably my first game that I ever played with a friend over like LAN and stuff like that. So it was but to see the stuff, it's just the company that Blizzard is now is not that company. Like, I mean, obviously this stuff, like the shitty behavior was going on before Activision took the studio over, and that's inexcusable. The actions that they've taken to to quote unquote remedy the situation and try to erase what happened and just like kind of sweep it under the rug. So they settled their lawsuit. It doesn't look like anybody's going to jail, which is awful. Somebody should go to jail.
Right.
But yeah, so they were going to have to cancel BlizzCon this year. There was no way that they were going in the midst of all this. They were going to have a bunch of cosplay chicks out there dressed like Sylvanas wearing almost nothing. They just can't have that happen.
Yeah.
So there's no, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like it, they just would have been so many protesters, so much, they knew they were going to catch an unimaginable amount of, they were going to catch more heat than they caught for Immortals. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, but yeah, they just couldn't do it. And the BlizzCon line thing is, they're going to do is they're going to show the trailers that they showed at BlizzCon is going to be just an online thing where it's just like, go to our YouTube channel, or, and if you give us $30, we'll give you, we'll give you some Hearthstone cards, and we'll give you a mount for World of Warcraft and a pet for World of Warcraft and some skins for Overwatch and blah, 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 blah. So it'll just be some kind of all too familiar in the recent years, just Blizzard cash grab.
Yeah, which we don't really need right now, because I mean, I know personally, like, I didn't go and pick up Diablo 2 Remake. I know that the launch hasn't gone well, so maybe I dodged a bullet there, but I know I on a personal level, didn't buy it, just as my own little protest, because I am very disappointed with what's going on there.
I didn't buy it. I do still play World of Warcraft. I know, so this was like lightning in a bottle for Final Fantasy 14. Having all these scandals go off as people were also, so like the major streamers of World of Warcraft, the people who were bringing the most attention to the game, a lot of them have jumped off and switched to Final Fantasy 14. And this this bullshit coming to light. Sorry, pardon me. I have like a little frog in my throat going on there.
Yeah. Maybe you need some of your parlor.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I don't want to get up and walk away. So, this gave them the excuse that they were looking for to go find a new game, because the Blizzard fans, we're just kind of fed up. Like we're just not seen as, the higher ups at Blizzard, they don't get why, the fans of Blizzard games are upset. The products that they've made over the last several years have gotten, worse and worse in quality. Like far less, World of Warcraft is a perfect example. There was far less fun in the game, and they were just, it was just like putting in arbitrary systems that just made it work, so that you just had to spend so much more time playing the game for rewards that weren't really worth your time. And then with all this stuff coming out, it just gave people an excuse to say, well, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to go play something else.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not a WoW player, but that's the great thing about having multiple co-hosts of the show that kind of rotate in and out. Jason and Mike, our other co-hosts, not here tonight, they are big fans, and they've said the same thing on the show when we've talked about WoW, that the quality of the products has been going down over the last few years. So you make a great point there.
Yeah, the only I was asked a couple. Sorry to keep ragging on Blizzard here for a second, but I was asked when this whole, like, when the results of the investigation were released publicly, months ago, and everybody was starting to make their transition. I got asked several times if I was going to go play, a different game, and for me, the reason that I stayed with playing, World of Warcraft. One is I don't want to punish the employees that are there, that, the people that have suffered enough. And, it's not going to be the higher ups in that company that are going to truly suffer. Jay Allen Brack left, and, but he took millions of dollars with him. Right. Mm-hmm. There's, the programmers, the people who were the victims of the harassment and of the horrible treatment and of just the work environment that was brought to light. Those are the people that are going to suffer if everybody, cancels their subscription, or if everybody doesn't buy a Blizzard product. Those are the people that are really going to suffer, because those are going to be the ones that lose their jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, and that's a great point. And it's, I think just the last episode, Adam, I can't remember. I think it was just the last episode. I said the same thing. Like, I am very torn between buying the game in support of the developers and not buying the game, because that is like hitting Activision in the pocketbook is the only way that you're ever going to get them to listen. Yeah. And so I'm very torn with that same challenge.
Yeah. Long story short on it, I will buy Diablo 4. Diablo 2, I'm not going to buy, just because that's also a game that has like a really special place in my heart, and I kind of don't want to mess with those memories by playing the remaster.
Right.
I feel you. All right, so moving on. That's not all for Blizzard news this week. Overwatch character McCree has officially been renamed to Cole Cassidy. The name change has been implemented as a repercussion of the ongoing harassment and discrimination allegations. McCree, whose full name was Jesse McCree, is named after the real-life Jesse McCree, who was the lead designer of Diablo 4, which Aaron just mentioned, who also has moved on from Blizzard as a result of all of this. Mm-hmm. And we actually talked about this on the show too, that we saw this coming, and here it is. It's officially happened. As of October 26th, you will no longer play as McCree in Overwatch. You will play as Cole Cassidy. And they did come up with a little cool backstory for why his name change happened. But yeah.
Did they release one of their little animated things for it? I didn't watch.
I don't think it was an animated thing. It was just like a little blurb, just an in-game blurb of something to the effect of like McCree's past has finally got to him and he needed to assume a new identity to move on and something like that.
Yeah, to move away from the gang. I got you. Yeah.
All right. Moving on over to the Xbox side of news for the week. Xbox users can now play PC games using NVIDIA's GeForce Now streaming service via beta support for the Microsoft Edge browser on Xbox consoles. However, having tested out the service on Xbox, Verge reporter Tom Warren reports that PlayStation console exclusive Death Stranding is not available, likely due to contractual agreements about where and how the game can be played. Nevertheless, this is really cool. I mean, again, Microsoft doing lots of great work to just kind of bring all kinds of games everywhere for anyone to play. And so they've done a lot of work to get Xbox games over to PC, and now they're making it possible to play PC games on your Xbox. Kind of a janky way to do it, but still, I think it's really cool.
Yeah, and bringing Xbox games to Switch, bringing Xbox games to PC. It's just Microsoft is, they're just we want you to play games everywhere.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird how they're just kind of like they're basically taking the Windows experience and making it about gaming, and that's what Xbox is now. Xbox isn't just a console. Xbox is a platform that can be played anywhere, just like Windows isn't a console, it's an operating system that can be used anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Real quick, I mean, it's not really what this news topic is about, but I'm really interested to hear your take on this one. There's another podcast I really, really like called Sacred Symbols, and the host of Sacred Symbols is constantly saying that he believes that by the time Skyrim 6, or not, I guess not Skyrim 6, Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, that it will be on PlayStation just by virtue of the fact that Game Pass is a service on PlayStation consoles. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Dude, who knows? It's so Todd Howard is obviously all over the Xbox stuff now. And they're, Bethesda is owned by Microsoft now, but Microsoft also, they want money. So I think whether it's through Game Pass or not, I think that Elder Scrolls will go to PlayStation. And I think that they're going to be Microsoft and be super smart about it and be like, hey, you can play it on Xbox for free, or you can play it on PC as part of your Game Pass subscription, or you can spend $70 on it on PlayStation.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, that's what was it? Is it Outriders that that just happened with, where
back in April,
day one free on Game Pass and $70 on PlayStation? It's like,
yep.
Where are you going to play?
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Yeah. I personally still think that Microsoft bought Bethesda because they wanted quality games in its Game Pass service to get people to be in Game Pass. So I still think that Elder Scrolls 6, if Game Pass, it'll be everywhere where Game Pass is. So if Game Pass is not on PlayStation consoles, I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 will be on PlayStation consoles. But that's
be surprised.
Thought.
Wouldn't be surprised, but maybe, yeah. there'll be a period of exclusivity for sure at the very least. It'll be exclusive to Game Pass for 6 months or a year or however long, and then if Game Pass isn't part, which it's not outside of the realm of possibility that Game Pass could, Microsoft could work out something with PlayStation where the fans have finally had enough of having to choose where they play and whatever. That was the other cool thing about Back 4 Blood that I mentioned earlier, is that you can play cross-platform with anyone.
Yep.
So you can, if you're on Xbox, you can play with PlayStation in that game.
Yep.
And so they're moving in that direction. I don't know that we'll ever see true proper Game Pass on PlayStation, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out for sure. Be really, really neat. All right, moving on. Still on the Xbox front, online services for a number of legacy Halo games will be discontinued in January 2022. 343 Industries has confirmed. Originally, various online services for Xbox 360 Halo games were to be closed in December 2021, but a revised shutdown date of January 13th, 2022 has now been confirmed via Halo Waypoint. The games set to be impacted are Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo 4, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Spartan Assault, and Halo Wars.
If it's not already, please add Reach to that list, because that online multiplayer is shit.
I'm actually, you make a good point. Reach is specifically not mentioned, and that is one of the Xbox 360 Halo games. But yeah, I mean, this is sad in some ways, just because it's like we talked about. These are some of the games we grew up with, but it makes sense. You've got the Master Chief Collection.
I was going to say that's not impacted by Master Chief Collection, right? So that they're still supporting that.
Yeah,
so you still have it. It's just not in the original form. You have to play it through Master Chief Collection.
Right, yeah. So you cannot go onto your Xbox 360 console if you're still doing that and play online Halo 3. You have to go to the Master Chief Collection. But
don't do that anyway, because that sounds like a miserable existence.
Agreed.
I mean, if that's where you're at right now, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Because what's your connectivity like on that? Are you playing that on are you on dial-up, or are you on
Yeah, for sure, man. It's not, I mean, come on. At this point, you got to get on to at least Xbox One and play Master Chief Collection.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, how much is it? Yeah, hold on. I got to do some, we're going to ask the internet real quick.
We're going to ask the internet
how much is
an Xbox console?
Xbox One.
We're all tentatively waiting.
How are those still? Okay, never mind. Maybe they're still $230 at Best Buy. Really, Best Buy? Really, Best Buy? $239.99 for a refurbished original brick Xbox One.
Do you think that this is because of the chip shortage?
Out of here. It probably is. Although here's one. Yeah, this is the Slim for $279. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah,
it's got to be the chip shortage.
It's because of the new the new buzzword. It's supply chain.
Supply constrained.
Dude.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I didn't have this in here, but we haven't had another chance to talk about it yet. But there was a new trailer also released for Halo Infinite this past week, kind of connecting to the Microsoft news. I just want your thoughts, Aaron, on this new game. Are you excited for Infinite, or?
It is. I'm going to say that with my limited experience with the game, it is the most excited I've been for a 343 Halo game. For sure. No doubt about it. It's the most excited I've been for a 343 Halo game. It's tough for them as a company, because what Bungie did was, it defined a generation of gaming, like you mentioned earlier. They were handed a series that defined what first person shooters were on a console. Like, is the first one ever. And that was good. And, so for them to take that on, and then this one actually feels like Halo. It actually feels like Halo. So it took them 4 games
10 years and
get around to it.
Yeah.
It's as long as they get there, it's all right.
Do you think this game is make or break for 343 as a studio?
as a studio, maybe it might be. It really might be. Like if it does, I can't see a world where it's not going to at least be considered a financial success. I feel like the target's easier to hit for them because it's because they have a captive audience, and everyone who has an Xbox and has, if you're playing online, you're probably going to have Game Pass, so it's going to be included with your subscription.
Right.
So it's an easier mark to hit. They don't really have to worry about sales numbers. They just have to worry about installs.
Right.
Which they're going to get a lot of because there's so many people who I'm sure already have it set to start installing.
Yeah. and the multiplayer portion is free to play, even outside of Game Pass.
Right.
The multiplayer portion will be free to play.
Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, I could see it being a make or break game for 4343. They've had some rough ones,
Yeah.
Halo 4 was not my favorite game. I'll keep it diplomatic. Halo 4 was not my favorite game.
And 5 was worse.
And 5 was I have so many videos on my Xbox of me standing on the other side of a force field in my own base playing multiplayer and having someone shoot me through it or hit me with some kind of vehicle through it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is even happening right now? Yeah. It was to the point where I was like, okay, this is just, I'm just not going to play this game anymore.
It's broken.
So yeah, hopefully that I didn't have any of those issues in the multiplayer, but it was just like the only things I played in the multiplayer were like smaller scale, like Team Slayer matches.
Right. Okay. Not the big team multiplayer.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Well, this last one, our final news story. This one is just for you, Adam. I know how much you like Batman. Our final news story for the week sees Warner Bros. Games reportedly working on a Smash Bros. Style fighter called Multiversus, featuring characters from its various IPs. This is according to a Reddit report corroborated by games journalist Jeff Grubb. Further credibility was given to the claims following the discovery of a trademark filing by Warner Bros., which was registered last month for the name Multiversus. The Reddit post claimed that the game was being handled by Mortal Kombat developer NetherRealm Studios and is based on Super Smash Bros. As a tag team game, though the poster wasn't clear on what that meant. Grubb confirmed on Twitter that he was aware of the project and that it was real, but he added, "It is not a NetherRealm game, come on," end quote. According to the claim, the list of characters in Multiversus includes Shaggy, Gandalf, Tom and Jerry, Batman, Fred Flintstone, Mad Max, and Johnny Bravo. Adam, are you going to get into this day one if they put it out and just go to town with Batman on Shaggy's scrawny ass?
If it's a tag team, I call Batman and Flintstone. That's my team.
That's a good, heavyweights.
Yeah. Maybe Johnny Bravo. I might switch out every now and
then. I'm going Johnny Bravo and Gandalf all day.
Yeah.
Just because I want to hear that conversation. Like I just want to be in the room when Johnny Bravo talks and Gandalf tells him to shut up.
Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting, that's for sure.
Do you think this is a little bit, though, of Warner Bros. Thinking that their individual properties are a little bit bigger than they may actually be on a grand scale?
I see Tom and Jerry, and I'm like, I'm already sold just because I grew up on them. But, like, would I pay $70 for it? Probably not.
Yeah. I do worry that, this may not, because PlayStation tried to do this with All-Stars back on the PS3, and they had an audience, and they had people that were dedicated to their first-party IP, and that game still struggled. So I do worry a little bit that Warner Bros. Might be biting off something here that's not going to sell the way they want it to. But, still pretty cool to fight Tom and Jerry with Gandalf.
So my bold prediction for this is that this is Warner Brothers making the same mistake that Sony made with Street Fighter. Was it 4? Where like they released the game and you got, you paid $60, you paid full price for the game and you got like 5 fighters. And then every couple of months they ended up releasing like a pack of 3 fighters that you had to pay another $20 for.
Oh, no. Yeah, I can see that.
I could see Warner Brothers trying to make some kind of cash grab bullshit like that.
Yeah, and that would just take something that I already feel like it might struggle and just really put a nail on it.
Yeah.
That would kill it.
There's been a lot of Warner Brothers games that have, just blatantly missed the mark and shown that they're, even though they have some cool IPs, maybe they don't have the best ideas of how to use them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all of the news run that we've got for this week. We're kind of right towards the end of the show now. Real quick though, listener question of the week. Steven Anderson wrote in to ask, remakes are all the rage. What makes a good remake in your opinion? Faithful to the original, like Link's Awakening, or more of a total reimagining, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, or somewhere in the middle? Does it depend? And when do you remake a game? Aaron, what do you think?
So with a remake, there's obviously there's the levels between a remake and a remaster, right? So it's important that you know that you make a distinction between the two.
Right.
But with remakes, I think what's important with a remake is that when I'm playing a remake of a game, I want it to be the experience that I remember. So we'll take the most recent one, for example, that we talked about earlier. We'll talk about Diablo 2. Mm-hmm. So I remember Diablo 2 very fondly, right? I remember that game looking spectacular, being a technical marvel for the time. Now, my copy of Diablo 2 is still linked to my Battle.net account. And I'd say probably about 2 years ago, I re-downloaded Diablo 2, and I made the mistake of trying to play it.
Yes.
Let me tell you, it's not great. So when I think about a remake, I think that I would want a remake to look and play the way that I remember it. So, and then for the new generation of players that may not have necessarily played it the first time, it should meet the expectation of current games.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think it's great. A great shout. And Adam, what about when do you remake it? I know that you famously hate remasters, but how long do you think is a good amount of time to wait until you go and redo something?
I think, I don't know, probably about maybe 5 or 6 years. That's
kind of short, I think.
It is kind of short, but you don't want it to be too long to where it's completely forgotten. If they remaster Abe's Exodus or Oddworld Abe's Exodus, people are gonna be like, oh yeah, that did exist. You know, you don't want that. You want people to be like, oh hell yeah, I remember I had a problem with this. I wonder if they fixed it.
Sure. Yeah, while I'm waiting patiently for Beyond Good and Evil 2, I would take a full proper remake of the first Beyond Good and Evil, and put the the graphics and the controls up to today's standards and just retell that story. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's a game that does not hold up well for sure.
Is it?
If you try to play it
graphics
now,
wise and stuff,
but yeah, I think that's what Rockstar are doing with Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City and San Andreas. As we wait patiently for Grand Theft Auto 6 that might come out in the next 6 years, maybe, if we're lucky.
Yeah, maybe we'll be alive. Maybe it'll be in a 2-pack with part 2 of the Final Fantasy remake.
There you go. No, I think that's great. For me, I like when they actually go and take the time to put some effort into the graphics and make sure they kind of, like you mentioned, that they feel like how you remember, or they look how you feel like they were when you were a kid. Because you see that happen a lot where, like an example is the Mario Sunshine remake that Nintendo put out. That one, they didn't do a whole lot with it. They basically got an emulator running and there were some issues with it, and I felt like that was underwhelming. versus something like, the Halo 2 remaster was superb.
It was beautiful.
Except for the fact that they took out Breaking Benjamin.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm not going to kill him for it. It's fine. We spent a lot of time talking about From Software. The Demon Souls remake is incredible. Like, it is incredible. It is one of, if not the best looking game on PlayStation 5. And I haven't played Returnal, so I can't put Returnal up against it. Returnal does look really good though.
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100%. It does look amazing. And I watched videos and I want to go back and check it out. I just haven't had the time yet. But yeah, I mean, that game, it's one of those that very much exemplifies, like, I remember what Demon Souls looked like on PS3 and what it felt like. And I remember how, like, immersive that game felt. And I go back and I look at it now and it's like, oh shit, no, it's not that. But when I look at the remaster on PS5, yeah, that definitely brings back memories.
It's what you remember. Yeah. That's exactly what I mean, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Steven, thanks for writing in, and I hope we answered your question well. All right, upcoming releases. We got Guardians of the Galaxy came out on Tuesday of this week. That looks really fun. Age of Empires 4 comes out today. Riders Republic today. Mario Party Superstars tomorrow. So a big week in games releases this week. And then next week, we've got the new Call of Duty Vanguard coming out. Then the following week on November 9th, we've got Forza Horizon 5 and a Jurassic World Evolution 2. And then also the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic Switch version on November 11th. So that looks pretty cool.
Is that just a port?
Yeah, it's a port of the mobile version, I think, of Knights of the Old Republic.
Okay, I have that on the iPad in front of me.
Yep. And then finally, November 19th, we got Battlefield 2042, which I think you wanted to talk about a little bit. So if there's anything you want to say about Battlefield.
Bro, figure it out. Figure it out, man. You guys had some bad looks on that beta. You want to talk about games that are like make or break for a studio?
Mm-hmm.
This one right here, because they've been talking about how they're coming for the Call of Duty audience since Battlefield 3, right? Every time it's like, this is going to be the COD killer. This one's the COD killer. This one's going to do it.
Yeah,
this one's going to do it. Nope. And 3 was good. You know what? Keep Battlefield 2040. Just don't release it. I know you got a lot of money in it, but people, they already told you that they don't want it. Like, they already told you that they don't want it.
Yeah.
You gave it to them for free. They played it for like a weekend. And how many pre-orders did they lose? Did that number get really? I know that everyone that I know that pre-ordered that game that got beta access canceled their pre-orders because of the beta. Every single one of them.
Wow.
And it's like, damn. And they're, some of them bought like the deluxe edition, like the $170 version of this freaking game. Like super fans. They were like, nope.
That's crazy.
Bad.
So that's
not to stick on the topic for too much longer, but do you think that that's because we've kind of spoiled players recently and that they call them betas, but they're really more like glorified pre-release demos, and that maybe what we got with Battlefield 2042 was actually a real beta?
Yeah,
and so
that's
we saw
possible.
the problem.
That's entirely possible. It's like, this is the beta of a game. We want you to break it.
Yeah.
Like, people need to, we want you to break this game. So, I mean, mission accomplished, clearly, but they're but it really kind of, you watch stuff from it. It definitely looked more like alpha footage than beta gameplay. Yeah. Like, with a beta, you expect a certain amount of polish to be and like a certain amount of the game to be there.
That's fair.
There's going to be like technical bugs and stuff like that, but not gameplay bugs. And not like,
they should have called it a technical test. They might have gotten away with it a little bit more.
Yeah, they absolutely. They definitely could have gotten away with more there. But yeah.
Very good. All right.
Cut and run. Make Bad Company 3. Thanks.
That's a good shout. That is a good shout. I would buy that.
Dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, you got me there. All right, so moving on. Game announcements this week. Konami has announced... oh, wow, my writing here was bad. Konami has announced that it will be publishing a new shoot-'em-up that is being developed in Scotland titled Signy All Guns Blazing. It is a vibrantly colorful twin-stick vertical shooter from a new studio called Keelworks, whose co-founders have a background in film and animation. The game is set on the planet Cygni, where players take control of one of the last pilots in a colony that's been nearly destroyed following a surprise attack by a biomechanical alien race. Players have to make their way across the planet and defend Cygni from the alien bombardment, either alone or in two-player co-op. I wanted to bring this game up for two reasons. One, holy shit, it looks so cool. Go check out the trailer for this thing.
All right.
Like the colors and everything, it's on the level of like Returnal in terms of the amount of color and vibrancy that it's coming to you. And it certainly feels like a callback to some of Housemarque's original stuff in terms of twin stick shooters, bullet hell type stuff. But also, number two, it's a new studio from people from I think they're from Lebanon, from Beirut, that left there and moved to Scotland, and they come from film and animation backgrounds. And we saw this with the studio that developed Kena, Bridge of Spirits, that just came out, and how gorgeous that game looks, and how taking that animation background and applying it to games really has worked well for them. And this looks like the next studio that are going to try to do that. So my eyes are on this one. It looks really cool.
That sounds pretty awesome. I had not heard about this game yet, so I will absolutely take your suggestion and watch some video for it. Kena Bridge of Spirits is another game that I didn't play yet, but I've obviously seen some video of it, and the art direction in that game's going to win some awards. Let's just say that. We'll leave it there. That's gonna there's definitely going to win some awards for the art style and the art direction of that game.
100%.
So yeah, I'm down to check this out for sure.
Awesome. Next up, Rockstar has announced that some of the individual games from Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition, that is a mouthful, will be made available on Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Now. The definitive edition version of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas will join Xbox Game Pass starting on November 11th, which is the collection's newly announced release date. Meanwhile, PlayStation Now subscribers will get access to the definitive edition of Grand Theft Auto 3 starting December 7th, the release date of the collection's physical version. I just thought this was really cool. Getting people in the door if you're in those subscription services, getting them in to try out one of the remasters of the trilogy, and then possibly leading them to buy the whole thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's definitely that's an awesome marketing approach to take too. Mm-hmm. And it's a good way to keep both companies happy with exclusivity. While San Andreas was probably the more financially successful game, might have sold more copies than 3. Yeah, 3 was the one that really put the series on the map
for sure.
So, and it makes sense that one goes to PlayStation because that's where that game was, but that's really cool. That's some nice outside the box thinking as far as marketing goes. To get people's foot in the door for those games.
Was that a little wordplay there? Take-Two, the publisher, a Take-Two marketing?
No, that was completely accidental. I'm an accidental genius.
You know me, I love some dad jokes.
It's not on purpose.
All right, number 3, Facebook announced at the Connect Live event today that Grand Theft Auto title San Andreas, more Grand Theft Auto news, is getting the VR treatment via Oculus Quest 2. No release date was given, but it was said to have been in development for many years, meaning that this is probably not far from release. Play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas in VR on the Oculus Quest 2. That seems like an interesting one.
Yeah, that's
still going to
cool.
be Facebook at that point?
No, now it's called Meta, right? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
Did you see this one, Aaron?
Yeah, Facebook is still called Facebook, but they're all under an umbrella of a parent company now. So Oculus. So now Facebook doesn't own Oculus anymore. Meta owns Oculus, and they're two separate entities. So that way, they can hide all their money through that, and then when Facebook finally gets down, they still have jobs.
There you go.
There was a joke that I saw that someone had commented on the name. They said the reason that he called it Meta is because Mark Zuckerberg never met a girl in college.
Dude,
I was like, oh,
he's
ouch.
Just it's just it's such an amazing display of detached privilege. It's like just him, just him, and it's a science should study that.
Yes.
Like just,
the Zuckerberg era. There could be like a name for this disease that afflicts people.
yeah. I want to have there be a show where like normal people try to have a conversation with Mark Zuckerberg and just see how it goes. Like, so, you know, just regular person works at Burger King or like a convenience store or whatever. And, you know, they just have to tell Mark Zuckerberg about their day and he has to sit there and listen. And I think that would just to watch the amount of this doesn't compute roll through his eyes would be, you know, it would be incredible. Cause you look at the other super successful people like Bill Gates or whatever. Bill Gates, he finds ways to try it. You know, he's definitely tried to find ways to make sure that he's left the world a better place than he has. If you haven't watched Inside Bill Gates' Brain on Netflix, you should watch it. It's a really cool documentary series. He's obviously had some shit go on where like his divorce with his wife and stuff, but he's actually done some things for like humanity in general. Whereas Mark Zuckerberg's just like, fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That'd be a great reality TV show. I think
it'd be awesome. It would, you know, it would humanize how unhuman he is. And
I would watch this. All right, free games, because you know we love free games. Next week's Epic Game Store freebies have been announced. Avon Colony will be free to download from November 4 to 11, and until then, Dark DARQ Complete Edition is now free to download.
I see what they did there.
Yeah. And on Game Pass, we've got some new Game Pass games announced for this week. The top of that list is Age of Empires 4, but also Alan Wake's American Nightmare, Backbone, Bassmaster Fishing 2022, Non-Guns, Doppelganger Edition, Project Wingman, and The Forgotten City, all available this week on Game Pass. So go check it out.
Yeah. I think it's important to note that is not a remaster of Alan Wake's American Nightmare, because the original Alan Wake just got the remaster treatment. Southtown, I don't know if you played that or not. Did you play the first Alan Wake?
I did. Okay.
It's such a good game, and that looks like they did the right thing and made it look like I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, American Nightmare is it's a little rough, and it probably looks pretty beat up right now because that was a 360 game.
Yes.
But yeah, it was fun. Yeah. It was fun.
The only weird thing about the Alan Wake remaster is that they did the gameplay, but they didn't remaster the cutscenes. So like when you go into a cutscene, it looks noticeably worse, even though when the game first came out, you go to the cutscene, it's like, oh, that's so good looking, and then you go back to the game.
Jarring.
Now it's like the total opposite. It's really funny to see. But yeah, definitely go check that out. All right, PlayStation Plus, November games have been announced. Knockout City for PS5 and PS4, First Class Trouble for PS5 and PS4, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning for PS4, and then Sony also recently announced that November's PlayStation Plus games will include 3 bonus VR titles to coincide with the platform's 5th birthday. They've also been revealed as Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, The Persistence, and Until You Fall. So starting, I think, November 2nd, all of those will be available. Holy shit. I think we finally made it to the end. This is by far our longest episode.
I have no doubt. I'm sorry I talked too much. God damn it. I'm sorry.
Dude, honestly, we don't mind talking to you. That's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
I could have driven to Texas over the course of the...
Close.
At least flown there over the course of this podcast. Thank you to those of you that made it this far. Congratulations. Achievement unlocked.
Yeah, achievement unlocked. Yes, I love it. Trophy popped. Do you have anything you want to, what's the term?
Pedal, anything I want to plug at the end here?
Plug, yeah.
Yeah, so you can check me out on Twitch. Again, it's twitch.tv/Dikymo, DIKYMO. We didn't talk about it at all, but if you are into non-alcoholic beverages, I have a soda company that I started with a good friend of mine, Josh Balls. That's called Parlor Root Beer, and you can find that at drinkparlor.com. And you can follow me on social media. Instagram is Aaron Bruch on Instagram, and then Twitter is Aaron_Bruch. And then you can also follow my little band called Breaking Benjamin. We're going out on acoustic tour in December.
So sad that you're not coming to Texas with
I'm
that.
sorry.
But I understand.
Sorry. We'll be there soon.
All right. Oh man, I'm actually sad to see this episode end. But Adam, can you take us out, please?
Yeah. You sure you don't want to give the honors to our guest of honor today?
Do we want to put him on the spot to read off my sorry writing?
Oh, bro, you know what? Liners are part of my job. I think I'm up to it.
All right.
Okay. Let's hand it off to him.
Dicky Mo, take us out.
Give it a shot. Thank you everyone for listening to the 67th episode of the Tricast Gaming Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Remember to like, subscribe, review on your podcasting app of choice, and if you have questions for the show, DM us on Twitter or Facebook. And I won't be back next week, but it says we will be back again next Friday with episode number 68. Have a great weekend, stay safe, and game hard.